Chapter 10, listing agreements. There's a saying in real estate, if you don't list, you won't last. And that's very true. So we got to learn about listing agreements here. In this chapter, we're going to describe the different types of listing agreements, identify information necessary for disclosures, and how to properly price the property. So here you go. If you don't list, you won't last. So agents should concentrate on spending about 70% of their time trying to get listings. Because if you got a listing, you have a greater odds of also getting the buyer on that property as well for that transaction. So if you're not actively showing properties to buyers and renters, if you're only working with buyers and renters, then you ain't getting paid. If you're a listing agent who's hired by a property owner to market their property for sale or lease, you got a better odds of also getting the buyer or renter and then getting both sides of the transaction. But if you got a listing, other agents could also be showing your property, your listing. So you could stay home sick, you don't have, or you could go on vacation and you could still end up getting paid on this from the listing side of the transaction. But if you're only working with buyers, the problem comes into effect that if you're not always actively working with buyers, making offers, and you're not going to get paid. All right. So only a broker can act as an agent to list, sell, or rent another person's real estate. We as real estate agents work for brokers and get those listings in the name of the brokerage under which we're employed. All the types of listings that we get are called exclusive because the owner of the property exclusively hires one agency to represent them to market their property for sale or rent. That's what we mean when we say exclusive. So we only take exclusive listings. Any other listing we cannot put in the MLS. We could only put exclusive listings where only one agency is hired to market that property in order to put that into the MLS. So the New Jersey Statute of Frauds stipulates that to be entitled to a commission on a real estate transaction, a listing broker must have a written authorization to act as the broker for the owner. We can't market the owner's property without their permission. Authorization is required in writing. This is usually through a listing agreement. All right. It shows how much we're going to earn, that they're hiring us to market their property, and how long that listing term is for. Now, can we take verbal listings? Well, the law allows us to, as long as we follow it up in writing in 5 days. But I suggest that you guys never take a verbal listing. Because look, remember, what are the MLS's rules? That anytime we get a listing, we got to put it in the MLS within 48 hours. That's also in the law. But you can't put it in the MLS if you don't have it in writing already. But there's different types of listings. Some that we could put in the MLS and some we don't have to. Those ones that if we get a waiver of broker cooperation where the owner directs us not to cooperate with other agencies, in that case, we don't put the listing in the MLS, okay? So let's highlight in the second paragraph, the New Jersey Statute of Frauds. We're gonna highlight that first sentence there. New Jersey Statute of Frauds stipulates to be entitled to a commission. We're gonna highlight that in the first sentence. And then on the last line, we're gonna highlight, and you must specify a definite date of termination for the agreement. So in order for any listing to be valid, it has to have an expiration date. So listing agreements must state the rate or exact amount of commission to be earned by the broker. They must specify a definite termination date in the agreement. That's usually an exam question because they want to make sure agents are not filling out these listing agreements, not filling out that line until they leave the owner's house and then filling it out later because they don't want to discuss how long the listing is, okay? You must have a definite date of termination for the listing specified on the listing. And in New Jersey, listing agreements cannot have the commission pre-typed in, because in New Jersey, all commissions are negotiable. It must be a blank line expressed either as a percentage or a dollar amount. So let's see. Look at something really quick here. I got the right slide we're looking at. Nope. Either way, there you go. Pull up a blank one. In New Jersey, commissions, commission agreements, listing agreements, they have to be a blank line. They could be expressed as a percentage. Hold on a second. I'm doing this in red. And in case anybody here is colorblind, they're not going to see that. So, okay, so listing agreements have to have it has to be a blank line for the commission amount. And then you have to handwrite it in, either as a percentage of the sales price or a fixed dollar figure. Because if it's, and it cannot be pre-typed in. If it's pre-typed in, when exactly did you negotiate, right? You also, commissions can never be a prescribed fee schedule. We learned about that in chapter 2 or 3, I believe it was. So what is a prescribed fee schedule? If you have something like this, you're giving people limited options to choose from. That's not negotiable, all right? So that's what they mean by it has to be a fixed dollar amount or expressed as a percentage of the sales price. So let's highlight the next sentence. If the agreement is entered into orally, the broker must deliver a written memorandum of the agreement to the client within 5 days of the agreement, which was on the previous slide. Okay, turn the page. Open listings, page 148.
Excuse me, Victor, which one is because we talk about it can be negotiable with the buyer. How do you say that?
No,
I'm talking about the percentage. You know.
Listing agreements are between the brokerage and a seller.
Okay.
What is a listing? A listing is where an owner, here, let me back up the slide again. Hold on one second. Only a broker can act as agent to list, sell, or rent another person's real estate.
Okay.
So basically, we're being hired by the owner to market their property in exchange for a commission. Listing agreements are not between the buyer, it's between the owner and the brokerage.
Okay.
Okay. So an open listing, this is a unilateral, open listings are unilateral contracts. Unilateral meaning one or one-sided. So it's open to any other brokers, all representing the owner as their agent to market the property, but none of them are exclusively the owner's agent. And because the seller is not bound to any one particular agency to market their property, there's no need to have an expiration date in these listing agreements. Therefore, we do not put them in the MLS. You can't have 10 listings for the same property in the MLS. And MLS listings require an expiration date, the start date and end date of the agreement be posted in it. Only the agent who brings the buyer is going to be paid a commission, only the buyer's side. So basically the seller's not going to pay a seller's side of the commission. They'll only pay the agent that brings the buyer in a commission. And the seller is not committing to exclusively work with one single agency, but the agency's bound to represent them to market their property. I wouldn't want to do that, would you?
No, so with this on lateral contract, anybody can
Open listing. It's an open listing.
open listing, yeah.
The owner's free. They're open to list their property. They're open to work with as many agents as they want.
As they want, okay.
All hired to market their property and try to find a buyer. And they're only going to pay a commission to the one that brings the buyer. They're not going to, like if there's two agencies, one that markets the property and the other one that brings in the buyer, they're only going to pay a commission to the one that brings them a buyer.
Okay.
And the owner doesn't have to pay a commission, therefore, if they also find their own buyer.
Okay.
I'm not going to waste my time with a seller or owner like this. What about you? Are you?
I would truly, because anybody can pop in and okay, I got it.
Waste my time and effort putting a listing, marketing a property, taking pictures, doing the write-ups, doing all the listing contracts and all that stuff.
And the type of that you are not the one that sell it.
And
Okay.
you get nothing out of it at the end of the day. If somebody else comes in with a buyer that they end up accepting their offer, screw that. Do it yourself, homeowner, right?
Yeah.
Not for me. You want to do it? Go ahead. Knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. You know? But that's not for me. So let's.
I got a question. So
Sure.
this one is sorry. So this one is looks like just like sales by owner.
Kind of though.
It's a kind
Yeah.
of sales by owner, right?
Yeah. Owner can sell it herself or himself too.
Well, the owner, the owner can find their own buyer.
Yeah.
But you know what? The key, what we're looking at here is when is the brokerage owed a commission? In this case, with an open listing, only if the agent finds a buyer, they'll be the one that's owed the commission. All right. So let's highlight the first sentence here. Open listing, seller agrees to pay a broker commission only if the broker procures a buyer for the property. A seller can enter into an open listing with any number of brokers, all acting as agents. Continue highlighting the next sentence. The seller is obligated to pay a commission only to the broker who successfully produces the ready, willing, and able buyer. Now the next two are exclusive type listings. What does it mean if a listing is exclusive? Once again, the word exclusive in these next two types of listings we're going to go over. What does the word exclusive mean? It means any listing with the word exclusive, and it means only one broker is hired to represent that owner to market their property for sale or rent as their exclusive representative. That doesn't mean that other agencies are not allowed to show the property or be entitled to a commission if they bring a buyer or a renter, but only one agency is allowed to market the property. So all listings must be entered into the MLS within 48 hours unless the owner directs us not to. And then we got to get them to sign a waiver of broker cooperation agreement that we had back on page 40 in chapter 3 it was. So that's our CYA form, our cover your butt form, that because the law requires us to put the listing in the MLS, the law requires us to cooperate with other brokers. If we get a listing and it's available for us or any of our agents within our brokerage to show, it must be available for other brokerages to show as well. The only exception is when the owner directs you not to. And then we need to cover our butts so that nobody can ever say that we violated the law and did not share that listing. We gotta get that owner to then sign the waiver of broker cooperation that says that they're the ones that directed us not to do so.
So that will be the open listing?
No, these are, yes, it could be, but not necessarily. An open, a exclusive listing would be one that's not put into the MLS. Could it be an open listing? Possibly, yeah. But it could also be that that the owner gave us an exclusive listing, but only our agency can market it.
Okay.
They only want our agency, not a bunch of agencies. Okay. So this would be referred to as a pocket listing in that scenario. And the agent would never be the one should never be the one to introduce the waiver of broker cooperation agreement to the owner. This is only when they request that we don't cooperate with other agencies. We cover our butts by getting them to sign that document. And if they sign that document and we're not cooperating with other brokers, we don't put it in the MLS. Because what's the purpose of putting a listing in the MLS?
For other brokers to see it, right?
So that we could share our listing inventory with other brokers who may have buyers that may want to see the property. That's it. All right. So exclusive agency, what is that? Only one agency is exclusively representing the owner to market their property. The seller reserves the right to find their own buyer and not pay a commission with this type of listing. So I don't like these ones either, really. Other agencies can show the property. The owner pays us a commission, though, as a listing agency, only if we or another agency finds the buyer, but not if the owner does. So basically, this is a type of listing where they pay us a commission. We put it in the MLS. We get paid a commission if our agency finds the buyer, if another agency finds a buyer, but the owner reserves the right not to pay us a commission if they find their own buyer.
Okay.
All right. Now, some agents may take these. I don't. Because these are the types of listings you're always going to end up banging heads with the owner because they're always trying to screw you out of your commission one way or another. All right. Like if you send a buyer by the house to see if they like the neighborhood and see if they like the way the house looks on the outside. And if they do, then you'll set up an appointment and you'll show them the inside. But if the owner's out there and then they flag them down, oh, come on, I'll show you the house, you know, then all of a sudden they're going to be like, no, I found that buyer. They drove up to the house and I pulled them in. I found that buyer. And, yeah, but I sent them there. And now they're just trying to argue with you not to pay you a commission. Or you guys ever see a for sale sign by a real estate brokerage on the property, and then next to it is a for sale by owner sign?
No.
I've seen them take it a step further. They take that for sale by owner sign and they would put it up on top of the brokerage's sign.
Wow.
So they get a little higher up, I guess. And I've seen them take it even a step further. You know, the brokerage's for sale sign that has the brokerage's phone number on it. They put white masking tape over the phone number and wrote their own phone number.
Oh my God.
No way.
So if you oh gosh, I lost my whole train of thought.
I don't want to be competing with the seller to sell their house. I want us to be working together to sell it.
Exactly.
I won't work with these people. You know?
So if we do an MLS, our agency pays for it, and if they find the buyer, we lose out both ways, right?
Pretty much. Yep.
I don't want to work with them either.
Yeah, exactly. But that's your prerogative. Okay. So let's highlight let's highlight the title, exclusive agency listing. And then let's highlight the last two lines. If the seller finds a buyer with no help from any broker, the seller retains the right to sell the property themselves without obligation to the broker. In other words, they don't pay you a commission. No, thank you. Those are the ones that you see like this. Remember I told you I reintroduced this?
Yeah.
Here's the brokerages sign. Look at all the for sale signs. Well, first of all, our listing agreements usually state on them that there's no other sign supposed to be on the property other than the brokerages.
Exactly.
And look what they're doing.
Mm.
Trying to screw you out of your commission. If I saw that, if I went up to that house like that, I would pull my sign out of the grass and I would
Exactly.
All right. Instead, I like to take exclusive right to sell listings. You see this guy with the little smiley face, the thumbs up? Kind of looks like me, right? All right. So Only one agency is exclusively representing the owner to market their property. Other agencies can show the property. The seller pays a commission no matter who brings the buyer during the listing term while that listing's in effect. Even if the seller finds their own buyer, they owe us a commission. So
They still pay commission to,
doesn't matter who brings the buyer. If that property is sold while the listing's still in effect, we are owed the commission. Doesn't matter who found the buyer.
well, that's exclusive right to sell listing.
Exclusive right to sell. That's why I got the smiley face there next to that. The added bonus is if the listing agent brings the buyer or the renter, you get double the commission. You get both sides of the deal. But that still applies with exclusive agency listings too. I mean, in that scenario, you get paid a commission if your agency or another agency brings in the buyer. It's only the seller doesn't have to pay you a commission if they find the buyer. In an exclusive right to sell, we get paid a commission even if the owner finds their own buyer. So,
Okay.
so I put together this little chart that compares these three types of listings. But let's first highlight exclusive right to sell listing and put that smiley face right next to it. Yeah, that's the one you want, right? And then we're going to highlight one broker's appointed as the sole agent of the seller and is given the exclusive authorization to represent the property in question. The seller must pay a broker a commission regardless of who sells the property. If sold while the listing is in effect. Sorry, finish highlighting that sentence. If sold while the listing is in effect. But we also learned that we're still owed a commission possibly even after the listing expires under certain circumstances. If any buyer was introduced during the listing period to that property and the property was not already relisted with another broker, that owner still owes us a commission up to 6 months later.
Okay.
All right. So let's look at these three types of listing. When is the owner required to pay the commission? In an open listing, it's if the listing agency finds the buyer, but not if an outside agency finds the buyer, or if the seller finds their own buyer. In an exclusive agency listing, they have to pay us a commission if the listing agency finds the buyer, if an outside agency finds the buyer, but not if the seller finds their own buyer. And in an exclusive right to sell listing, they pay us a commission no matter who finds the buyer during the listing term. Which one do you want?
Open listing.
The right to sell.
I want the exclusive right to sell listing.
Yes.
I want the one where we're going to get paid a commission no matter who brings the buyer, as long as that listing's in effect.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good little chart to give you a visual of when we're owed a commission by the owner.
Question.
Okay.
The exclusive right to sell. So in order for us to get that, we would need like to present that, or like they have them sign that in order for us, like
At the-
how would we get
At
that?
the time you get the listing, it's the type of listing contract you would have that owner sign.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we have net listings. A net listing is illegal in New Jersey. Just highlight the title. Net listings are illegal. What exactly is a net listing though? It's when the seller tells the agent how much money they want to net in their pocket from the sale, and any amount they get over that, they get to keep as their commission. You may think, oh, that's great. Really? Let me ask you a question. On a $300,000 house, what would your commission be? No answers?
Say that again. I don't get this
On a
question.
$300,000 house, what would your commission be on a net listing?
Mhm.
Oh, nothing because it's illegal.
Well, other than that fact, I wasn't trying to trip you up that way.
No.
But but yeah, you're not allowed to do net listings in New Jersey. They're illegal. But what would your commission be if it wasn't illegal?
Well, it's negotiable.
Well, no, the owner tells you how much money they want to net in their pocket, and any amount you can sell it over that, you get to keep as your commission.
I don't know
I
about
don't
that.
get it. Why do they have to? I don't.
But if that happens, you'll never know. You can't put on paper how much money that you're going to make. If another agency came in, how do they get paid? How much money do they get paid? Look, as it is, when we get listings, as it is, if we get a listing, so usually there's this scenario. The, you know, the agent looks at your house like this. The owner thinks they got the castle going on over here, right? And the appraiser looks at the house like this, right? So as it is, we have a hard time trying to convince this owner that their house is only worth this. So already we're starting off at the beginning with an argument, trying to educate our clients already as it is that what the market value is of their property. So if we manage to get them to come down in value of the asking price, how much do you think they're going to want for their property? They're going to want every penny in their pocket. It'll be impossible for us to make any money in that scenario, right? So it would, if that's how it was in New Jersey, it would be in the agent's best interest if they wanted to earn a living to lie to their clients.
That's
Tell them what the true market value is, because when you tell them what the true market value is, they're going to want every penny of it, you know? So this is why in New Jersey, commissions must be stated as a percentage of the sale price or a fixed dollar amount. And you know what the commission is going to be. And then this way we could also offer a split of that commission to any other outside agency that brings in the buyer.
I thought in previous chapter, you told us that the commission can be negotiate with the seller.
Yeah.
So which one is that?
Well, all commissions are negotiable. It doesn't matter the type of listing. All commissions are negotiable. But
Okay.
look, I could say that. What does that statement mean? Why are we saying all commissions are negotiable? It doesn't mean that we negotiate every time. Listen, all commissions are negotiable, but my office may have a policy that we don't take listings less than 6% unless you get special permission from the broker.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So what does that mean, that the commissions are negotiable if you're not really negotiating? Well, what that means is that my commission is not set by any trade association, multiple listing service, licensing service, or we're not violating federal law by colluding with the competition, trying to set an industry standard on the pricing for the fees for the services we perform. What do we call that?
Tax,
Price fixing.
price fixing.
And what federal law makes price fixing illegal?
The Sherman Act.
The Sherman Antitrust Act, correct?
So if I don't know, if I want to sell my house and my agency, no, if I don't even know how to put it to you. If somebody wants to sell their house and my agency has already stipulated that it's a 6% commission.
Uh-huh.
So and the seller want to negotiate with me that he want the percentage to be lower than 6%. How can you handle that?
Well, you could try to negotiate with them. You could say, well, I don't want to pay 6%. I'll just go to your competition down the street and I'll see what they'll charge me. And that's when you, okay, well, let's see if we could negotiate, or what? Don't you like the services that I'm offering you? All the things that my agency is going to do for you? You got to have what is exactly are you selling? Before I ever enter into a conversation about the, before I ever enter into a conversation with an owner about my commissions, I don't want to discuss the commissions that I charge the owner until I see if I want to work with them and take their listing and if they're interested in the services that I'm performing. You first got to sell yourself and your brokerage and the services that you're doing to see if they're interested or if they like it. You got to sell it before you could charge for it. Right? Don't you got to get people excited about the product before you start telling them what the price is?
Yeah, but after you sell yourself,
The other way around, you know,
and they
tell people
and they
right
turn
off the
around
bat.
that can we negotiate with the percentage, with the commission? What do you say to that?
First things first, say, well, hold on a second. You're putting the cart before the horse here. What we need to do is we need to first go over your house, take a look at your house. Let me give a valuation on your house, see if you're even dealing in reality. Some homeowners think that their home is worth way more than it is, and we can't even agree on a listing price that's within reason or anywhere near reality. And if that's the case, I may not want to work with you because I only take listings that I know that I could sell, that I could market and I could sell, or I could see where the owner is working in reality, willing to work with me to help market their property. I'm a professional. I don't take listings just for the sake of collecting listings. I only take listings when I know that I can work with the owner and try to possibly sell that home. Some agents may take your listing because they know they'll get leads from it and they'll flip those buyers to some other property, but they'll never sell yours. But I don't want to do that to you. I don't want to take your listing knowing that I can't sell it. All right. So before we ever start talking about my commission, let's see what you're working with here. Let's look at your house. Let's see if there's any issues with it. Let's try to put a proper valuation to your house. Let's talk about the services that my agency offers, what I will do for you. Let's see if you even like me and want to work with me, and see if we could work with each other at all here. And then if all of that is good, then one of the last things we're going to talk about is the fees that I charge. Does that sound fair, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner? Does it?
Well,
See, I'm not going to go any further till I get an answer from you, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. Does that sound fair?
well, it sounds fair, but I still want it sounds fair.
I know we're going to discuss commissions. I'm not hiding that from you, but there's no point in us discussing it now. Do you even know if you want to hire me? Are you definitely going to give me the listing?
Yeah.
You're definitely giving me the listing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then let's go into the commissions right now.
All right.
All right. But I'm not going to even enter that conversation until I know that you're either going to definitely give me that listing and you absolutely want to work with me. But I want to educate you. I'll let you know how much your home is worth. Okay. So you're definitely going to give me that listing?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's find out how much your home is worth, because I don't know if I want to take it yet. Does this sound kind of stupid conversation? Does it sound like I'm being a little cocky? I don't care. I want to see if it's a listing that it's worth my time taking. There's plenty of people out there. Your home is worth $350,000. Yeah, but I want $800 for it. There's no comps out there that would justify anything anywhere near that. I'd be totally wasting my time and your time if I took that listing to market the property. And quite frankly, it's not worth my aggravation, let alone my time, because I know that you're going to be nagging me every other day about, do we got any buyers? Are there any appointments? And you're going to be accusing my company of not doing our job. You're going to be accusing me of being a lousy agent because I can't miraculously produce a buyer who wants to pay double what the actual market value is for your home, because that's how much you want for it. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, yes, I do. But people that wanted to sell the house, they're supposed to know what the market value is.
And how do they know that? A lot of them think they already know that. And how do you think they know that? Because of sites like Zillow. Oh my God. Zillow. You have no idea what the value of your home is if you're looking at Zillow.
Mm.
Zillow is notoriously wrong with value.
So where do you supposed to
With their
look?
estimates. You need an individual who's experienced who will look at your house individually and give you a pricing on it. Real estate agents help owners evaluate their homes by doing what's called a comparative market analysis.
Yeah.
Now, it's not an appraisal, but so if you want an appraisal, you hire an appraiser and pay an appraiser $600 to do an appraiser for your house.
Mm.
And I will list your property at whatever that appraiser says it's worth. You want to do that instead? You don't want to take my value? You want to go buy an appraiser? You know what? I would actually recommend that you do that. Hire an appraiser, pay an appraiser $600 to do the appraisal for your house, and I will list your property at whatever he says that it's worth.
Mm.
Even better than me giving you a valuation. Want to do that? Let's do that. Cool. Let's end this meeting. Hire that appraiser. I'm going to list the property at whatever price he says. Okay. Homeowners ain't going to do that. They don't want to put any money out in advance. They want your valuation, and then they want to argue with you about what it's worth. I tell you what, whatever valuation I'm going to come in at, I bet you an appraiser is going to come in lower.
Mm.
Because that image that I showed you already, where is that at? Where is it? Yeah, I mean, I got several slides here with the same picture on it even. You know, how the homeowner views their home, how the listing agent views their home, and how the appraiser views it. Yeah, a couple slides over here with that. Homeowner always thinks they got that mansion thing going on. The agent's looking at your house like this, and the appraiser like this. And the only one that matters is what the appraiser's end determination is. Because most people that are going to come in to buy your house are going to need a loan to do it. And a bank, a lender is not going to lend a buyer more money than what an appraiser says your home is worth. So while you're thinking your house is worth this, we're thinking here the appraiser is probably going to come in even a little bit lower. So be ready for that. Be warned. All right. And that's always an interesting conversation. And why was I here? This page? Oh, this thing. Hold on one second. I was looking for something. Hang on tight. Let me go through all these slides. Right, it's the creation. All right. The MLS, okay, sub-agency is when two agents working for the same brokerage are representing both the buyers in the transaction. An agent of an agent is a sub-agent. So if you have a listing and another agent from within your brokerage is bringing the buyer in, and your agency then is representing both parties in the transaction, and therefore that would be a sub-agency agreement. I could show you this by contract. Pull up a listing agreement for you. Here's a listing commission agreement courtesy of the Garden State MLS, multiple listing service. It's coming up. I'm opening it. Give me a second. All right. And you can see fill out the owner's information in this section and their address where they live, the brokerage's information and the address of the brokerage, the phone number, fax, property information, whether it's for sale or rent, what the asking price is right here. And here's the subject property that's actually for sale or rent. You're going to put that property's info there. Here's where we put the term of the listing agreement, the start date, the end date. Okay. I usually fill that in. I don't start asking questions. Well, how long do you want to list it for? I put it in there for either 6 months or 1 year. I don't even ask them. I just put it in there and I tell them this. So the listing is going to start as of when? Today or as of when? Okay, then we're going to have the end date here. It's going to be a 6 month or a 1 year listing. I'll put down whichever. And then if they have a question about it, and only if they have a question about it, and they don't want to let me go any further than that, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, sure, let's discuss that. You want to talk about that? We call this absorption rates. Let me see if I got that on the slide at all. Yeah. So an absorption rate. What is an absorption rate? Zoomed in too much. So an absorption rate is this. We take the number of homes that are currently on the market and we divide that by the number of homes sold last month. That will equal the absorption rate, which is how many months it'll take for the market to absorb all of the listing inventory currently on the market, in theory, provided that no new homes come on the market for sale and that the number of buyers that are out there looking remains constant next month as well. In theory, that's how long it'll take for the market to absorb all of the inventory on the market. But we know that some properties are going to be overpriced or just in a horrible condition that nobody's going to ever make an offer on them, and they'll just expire as listings. All right. So some properties we know are just not going to sell. So this is basically the theory of how long that we need. And usually I could justify a 6 month listing term by taking the number of homes on the market, dividing it by the number of homes sold last month. That'll give us how long is the minimum listing period that I need. All right. So Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, I need you to help me help you sell your home by giving me enough time to do it. All right.
Victor, are the choices only 6 months or a year for the listing agreement?
Negotiable too. You could give them a 1 week listing or a 1 day listing if you wanted to.
Oh, I see.
Well, listen, if you want the premium advertising package, where then I'm putting your property in all the real estate magazine stands that you see on the Parkway and Turnpike and the convenience stores in the supermarkets. If you want to be the headline property on the homes.com and realtor.com and Zillow and Trulia, if you want your property highlighted in all those places, well, there's some publishing lead time that it takes place. Once I put your listing in the MLS, it's going to take 10 to 11 days before it ever gets to Zillow or Trulia, unless I go directly there and input that listing directly on each one of those websites. So for it to generate out, it takes 10, 11 days for that to occur. In the magazines, we need to get printing, we need to write up the ads, we need to send it to the publisher, they need to give us proofs for our approval, then we need to send it back and approve it, then they need to print those magazines, then they need people to go out and distribute them to the location. There's some lead time. Am I boring you?
No.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, well then ask.
For example, if the owner, the seller said, after 3 months or 4 months, the house is not yet sold, and he said, I want to take it out of market.
Okay, well, that's how long we're going to put the listing for then. Well, we're going to negotiate how long we're going to do it on the MLS. But I'm going to tell you what, if you price your home right, I should be able to sell it the first month. So are you going to listen to my pricing advice?
Okay, because I know someone that
at a little bit higher price just for a little while, which is what owners usually want to do. They usually don't want to take our advice because the price that we usually suggest to them is lower than what they want for the house, you know? Now, we could even give them this presentation called a CMA. We're showing them evidence. We're showing them what the homes in the area have listed for, what homes have sold for, what homes have expired at. And this way we could show them evidence of what is not selling and what actually is selling. Similar homes to yours, what they're going for in this neighborhood. Now the argument becomes, okay, well, is that home really similar to mine? Okay, so we're gonna have to go through that whole spiel with the presentation. But once we get past all of that and we show them the evidence that your home should be in this price range, they're gonna be like, okay, I see all the evidence that you have. I see, okay. And they're like nodding their head and they're total agreement with you, but then they're still like, but I want to try it at the higher price for a little while at least, just for the beginning. You guys got to learn how to overcome objections then. Now it's like, okay, well, I just explained to you why your home is not worth that much and why no buyer is going to put in an offer. And even if they do, no bank's going to lend them the money to get it at that price. So why would you want to try it at that little higher price? Especially since the first couple weeks that your property is on the market is when your home gets the most activity of buyers to it, because it's the hot new home on the market.
Yeah.
Overpriced it, then you're losing that opportunity to sell that property while you've got the buyers excited about it. You got to hit while the iron is, you got to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, you know? And if you overprice that property at the beginning, those buyers are gone. They're not coming back. Now, later on, if you should lower the price a little bit, it's going to need to be significantly lowered if you want to get them buyers to come back. And by then, you've been sitting on the property for a while on the market. And if you're a home buyer, anybody here ever shop for a home?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're a home buyer, you're shopping for homes and it's on the market for a while. What's the first question you ask?
How long was it on the market?
All right, I tell you, it's been on the market for a long time. What's your next question?
How much?
No. If I tell you that
You know the price.
if I tell you that the property's been on the market for a while, do you have
What's wrong with it?
Wow.
Maybe something wrong with it.
what's wrong with it? See, I didn't say it, you did. That's the market. That's how the market works.
I think that's why the seller, we take it out of market. Maybe
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter.
few months later, they put it back in the market.
Why? Because you want.
Because it wasn't sold the first time they put it in the market.
So what's taking it off the market and putting it back on the market again?
Because he didn't want it to just sit down in the market and nobody wanted.
You want it to look like it's a new listing, right?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, that doesn't work. Look, it doesn't even work on Zillow anymore. You could go to websites like Zillow or Trulio or Realtor.com. It shows you the complete listing history of how long the person's been trying to sell that.
Oh.
Look, don't believe me. Do it yourself. Do a search yourself. Go to Zillow. Zillow.com. You go to any of the homes that you could find there possibly on Zillow for sale. Let's see. Let's look for homes in, I don't know, homes for sale anywhere. Doesn't matter where it is. Here, let's click on this home. Manchester. For 225. Oh, 2 bedroom. Okay, small home, but whatever. Let's just click on that home. I just clicked on some random home. Waiting it for it to load. I think my computer's screwed up because I haven't restarted it in a couple days. And you can look up all the information about the property. It shows you the MLS when Zillow last checked. This one was in the Monmouth Ocean County MLS. All right, let's see, where's the normal? Oh, this is a featured property or highlighted property. Let's see if we got it. Facts and features, home value. Okay, looks like it's missing. All right, this may be a new listing. All right, bad example. I gotta find another property here. Here, let me click on another one. In town, Pennsylvania. Whatever. I didn't even do a search for any particular area. Okay, MLS, source, whatever MLS that is. Usually they got listings with several MLS numbers here if it's been listed several times. If it's been listed several times, that is. price and tax history. Okay, listed for sale, sold, sold, price range, listed for sale. So if the property was listed for sale multiple times, it'll show that it did not sell. Listing, it'll show listing expired, listed again, listing expired, listing again. And you could see that in the price history right there. Right now I'm pulling up examples, ones that did not get relisted, but if you find one that was relisted, look at this one in Farmingville, New York. All right, look at their history. Okay, you can see they're showing you the current MLS. Okay. So, some of them, like Zillow, will have it all in one place. They'll show you all the times that it was listed for sale.
Okay.
A little bit different. Instead, they show it in the pricing history, or the listed for sale, sold. Okay, sold here, listed there. Okay, so apparently wasn't relisted yet. But you're not gonna. Our MLSs, when you search the MLS and we see your property there, we don't even have to search for it. We could see the complete history. So we could see that it expired. You waited a few months and you just put it back on the market again. So we know this owner's been trying to sell for a while. We could see.
Victor,
Relisted it. So you're not fooling anybody by doing that. That used to be an old trick that agents would actually do. They would say, let it expire. We'll do short listings. We'll let it expire, and then we'll put it back up on the market again as a new listing. Okay. Now, that was an old trick. That won't work anymore. Who said Victor?
yeah, I was just drawing attention to the house that you were just looking on. They said in 2001, it was like $80 per square foot. Now it's $200 and odd, I guess, for them to come up with the price.
Okay.
I was just looking at that.
Well, over time, you know,
Mhm.
property values, real estate is a market that's cyclical.
Mhm.
Let me see. Real estate markets are cyclical. What does that mean? That means that the property values go up, property values go down.
Right, right.
If you look, I think I even have a little drawing I made here of that. 1 second. Whiteboard moves slow. There we go. So a real estate market is like this line that you see right here. I'm gonna erase it. I'm gonna redraw it. Okay. Now, real estate markets are cyclical. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, like the stock market, right? It goes up and it goes down, right? Now, where did you buy that property? Did you buy it here, or did you buy it here? Or did you buy it somewhere over here? If you bought it here or here, and currently in the market, we're right here, if you were to sell, you'd lose money.
Mhm.
But if
Right,
you
right.
waited, you know, look, property, you may make money if it comes back up here, or even back here, you'd break even, you know. So real estate market is cyclical. If you hold the property long enough, you only lose money if you need to sell when the market is down below the point of where you purchased. If the market is down and then you bought down here and market comes up here, you're making money, right? But how do you know when you're at the very top of the market or the very bottom of the market? You won't know until it starts hitting that peak and starts, start going down or starts going up. Or in COVID language, it depends where you are in the curve, you know? They're always talking about the curve, okay?
Is it a 7-year cycle usually?
Well, we got
7 years?
yeah, you got to see where you are in the cycle, you know? You're not going to lose money if you're currently here, but you bought here if you don't sell.
Right.
If you wait till you come back over here, you'll get your money back. Or if you wait even longer over here, but that's time. That's a time factor we got to take into consideration too. Sometimes we get people that they're like, well, you know what? Last year, my property, if I sold my property last year, I could have gotten so much for it. Okay, so that means last year you could have been like around here, but currently we're right here.
Mm.
So you should have sold last year. What do you want me to tell you? I have no control over the market. I'm here to tell you what the current market conditions are. Don't shoot the messenger.
Victor.
Yeah.
You had another question regarding the MLS. I know you talked about the referral agent. If you decide to just hang your license, eventually, or maybe sooner than later, are you able to access the MLS, or you wouldn't be able to?
You won't have access to the MLS as a referral agent.
Okay.
You won't be insured. You're not carrying errors and omissions insurance.
Right.
And you are forbidden from working directly with clients. All you could do is
Right.
prospects to the broker. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So what was I doing here? Oh, yeah, I think I was also looking at, let's see, Trulia. It's been a while since I even looked at Zillow or Trulia. I really don't care how they're presenting stuff, but here, let's click on any of these properties here. Here's one in Scotch Plains, okay? Let's see how they're presenting this property now. Look at this. Price history of the property. You can see the complete listing history.
Okay.
Yeah. 121. Here was the price in 1999.
Yeah.
Wow.
21. You can see they relisted it for sale in 2015, 599. That's when it listed for sale. The listing was removed. At
They put it back on in October.
In 2021, same owner listing the property this time for $600,000. Okay,
Wow.
they were not able to sell it here. They listed it twice for $599 both times. They didn't lower the price, so they held on to it. And now again in 2021, they're trying to sell it again for around $600,000 again. Okay, so you could see the complete history here. Let's expand it a little bit more. Okay, this is where you could actually see the last time it was sold. Okay, but you can see the complete. So Zillow truly is actually a little bit better than Zillow. How they lay out the information. I don't know what that's about. Okay, so Truly is a little bit better than Zillow when it comes to laying out the information, but none of these are good at pricing properties. They give their zestimates or whatever, and Zillow owns Trulia, so their pricing is going to come with the same kind of a structure. It's not good. You need to have current markets. They just pull a bunch of homes that are in the close area and use that as an average, but those homes may not be similar even. They look at, is it one family? How many bedrooms does it have? It may be different architectural styles. All these things play a role into the value of the home, the condition of the property. And you don't know that till you actually go there. You can't just pull a bunch of property records to see how many family house it is and then compare them. You got to compare apples to apples here. You can't compare a Victorian to a ranch, or a ranch to a split level, or these are different style homes. You got to compare apples to apples here. All right, so the appraiser looks at your house like this, the real estate agent and the owner. Look at that. I already had this stuff in the slideshow and I was hunting around for it. All right, now when we get listings, we put them into the MLS as we're required to within, how soon are we required to put them in the MLS?
48 hours?
Within 48 hours, unless who directs you not to?
The owner.
The owner. Your broker can't direct you not to, the MLS, the Realtors Association, the buyer. Only the owner can direct you not to cooperate with other brokers. In that case, you'll have them sign a document called
Waiver of cooperation.
Waiver of broker cooperation. That's our CYA form to cover our butts, right? And then we would put that listing, and then we would not put the listing in the MLS. But otherwise, we're required to put the listing in the MLS within 48 hours. And here's all the different MLSs in New Jersey. All the ones for residential anyway. But these residential MLSs, we could also put commercial listings, land, and businesses for sale in them too. But these are, if you have a residential property, you're going to put it in one of these MLSs. Now, even though each one of these MLSs have listings in them in their database for all 21 counties and all 550 municipalities of the state, you have to put the listing in the correct MLS that's primary to the area that most agents that are working in that particular area where that property is located will be searching for those homes. In other words, say I live in Union County. If I was looking for a house in another house in Westfield, that's in Union County, that would be listed in the Garden State MLS, the GS MLS. I wouldn't go searching in Cape May MLS for it, even though Cape May MLS has a listing for all 21 counties, because most of the agents that work in this area, first of all, they're probably not going to be members of the Cape May MLS. Second of all, they're going to be looking in the Garden State MLS because this is the primary tool where they put their listings for these areas. All right. So you got to look in the right MLS, and therefore you got to put the listing in the MLS where most agents will be looking for that property who have buyers. Okay. You don't want to put the listing in the wrong MLS. And if it's a property bordering town, like in Woodbridge or something, or in Old Woodbridge or Old Bridge or something, you'd want to put it in both the Garden State as well as the Middlesex County MLS, or formerly called the Middlesex County MLS, is now Central Jersey or CJ MLS. This way you get agents from both those areas, maybe having buyers that are interested and they could see those properties, and you got a wider scope of buyers that could be introduced to it. So let's see, let me show you the areas. CJ MLS, that's the Middlesex County MLS. Their primary area is where? Middlesex County, although they rebranded their name trying to get this whole Central Jersey area. But that's going to be years, if not decades, before that happens. Because most agents are using all these in all these areas. They know the primary MLS is Garden State. Monmouth Ocean County MLS covers what area primarily? Monmouth Ocean County, except for the southern part of Ocean County, which is covered by the Southern Ocean MLS. We have the Hudson County MLS, which covers Hudson County, except for the northernmost section of Hudson County up here, which is covered by NJ MLS, which covers the northernmost section of Hudson, Bergen, and Passaic as the primary MLS for those areas. And what determines whether it's a primary MLS or not? If the majority of the agents in that area are using what is their go-to MLS for that area, that's what determines that. If all the agents decide that a new MLS comes out and all the agents decide that that's the MLS that they're all going to be using, guess what? That just became the primary MLS for that area, you know? But the law that doesn't dictate which MLS you got to put it in. It just says you got to put it in a MLS, okay? You have Trend MLS, which covers this southwestern part of the state. Mercer County, that's that Trenton, Princeton area, Mercer County, Burlington, Camden, Gloucester, Salem, Cumberland, and I think possibly even Atlantic County as the primary. And Trend also covers parts of Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. And then you got lastly the Cape May County MLS, which covers primarily
Cape May.
Cape May County. There you go. All right. So now you could put all kinds of listings here, but these are primarily for residential, but you could put commercial listings, land, and businesses for sale. If you specialize in commercial real estate though, you guys really need to be members of these primarily commercial MLSs. But they tend to be a lot more expensive because you're paying for information, you're paying for data in these MLSs. Residential MLSs, you're paying for access, you need to be licensed, and you guys cannot join one of these MLSs unless your broker is a member of the MLS. And then yes, you pay your own MLS fee as well as the broker, but the broker pays a lot more than you do. In the commercial MLSs, you don't even need to have a real estate license to join one of them. You just got to be willing to pay the exorbitant fees that they charge. For example, CoStar, their cheapest plan, I believe, is $325 a month the last time I checked. All right, LoopNet is a little bit cheaper than CoStar, but they're owned by CoStar. It's smaller, but any listings you put in there, it'll go in there. But who could see them? Only other members, unless you pay extra to have the plan where non-paying members can see those listings. So, you know, commercial MLS is a different beast altogether. If you guys want to get involved in commercial, don't dabble in it. Go work for a commercial brokerage so that you don't waste your time. You specialize in commercial real estate. You don't really dabble in it as much. I've dabbled in it a little bit, got some sales, but I usually give them as referrals to agents that specialize in commercial real estate so that my clients would get the best service possible. Termination of listings. Highlight termination of listings. We've seen a chart similar to this for the reasons of terminating a listing in chapter 3. They referred to it as terminating an agency relationship. Okay, now termination of an agency relationship and terminating a listing are two different things altogether. So what are the different ways you could terminate a listing? Performance of the broker. The broker is not just not paying any attention to your listing. They're not answering you. They're not communicating. They're not doing anything with the property to market it. So you could get fired for that. Okay. Expiration of the time period stated in the agreement. The listing expires. Abandonment by the broker. Once again, you're not doing anything to the listing. You stop marketing it. You stop responding. You're not really doing anything to try to sell the property. Revocation by the owner. The owner simply cancels the listing. But keep in mind, they cannot cancel the contract. If they cancel the listing and they still sell the property, unless you gave them an unconditional release from that listing and they sell that property still with you or another broker, they still owe us the commission. Cancellation by the broker. Cancellation by both by agreement, mutual consent between the brokerage and the client. Bankruptcy, death, or insanity, a mental disease or defect of either the broker or the owner. You can't be in a legally binding contract with somebody who's not of sound mind or dead, right? Or in bankruptcy, because bankruptcy, the purpose of that is to get people out of contractual obligations, not to enter into new ones. Destruction or condemnation of the property. If the house burns down or it's deemed unsafe to enter, well, there you go. That's you're done with your listing there. You could go and also always get a new listing for that new for the land with a destroyed building on it. Okay. A change in the property use by zoning laws, perhaps, or outside forces like zoning laws and such. Well, that would change the purpose of your listing or the type of listing. So you'd have to cancel that listing. If you want to, you could get a new one and enter it in. But either way, let's highlight the title, termination of listings, and put a highlighted box around all those listing reasons for terminating a listing. Okay. How do you get listings? How do you get listings?
How do you get listing? That's the question that I'm going to pose to you. How do you get
the one getting in sales? Do you have any ideas whatsoever on how to get them?
How do you get the seller to list their property?
How do you get sellers? How do you know people who want to sell?
Yeah.
Give me some ideas.
Advertise.
Huh?
Who?
I said advertise.
Well, yeah, you advertise. That's one way. Where are you going to
Social media.
Where are you going to advertise? On social media?
Social media.
Where else?
Social media. That means
all right. I'm not gonna try to pull teeth over here. I got a bunch of ideas that I put together here for you guys. This is a little gem. You guys are not gonna get this from other schools. I'm going over this stuff. This is has nothing to do with your exams. This is stuff that you need to be successful agents, and I want you guys to be successful. Okay, and then spread the good word about Career Path Academy. Get the name right. Don't just call it Career Academy or Career Path. It's Career Path Academy. Okay, thank you. All right, so you have to prospect. First, advertise to your sphere of influence. Let's go old school. When I started in real estate brokerage, well, actually the internet was around, but even before me, how did people used to do this in the past? Well, even when I started at my brokerage, the first one I started at, they gave me a pad and a paper and said, start writing down names of everybody you know, your friends and family first. Your family, then go outwards. Your friends of friends, acquaintances, co-workers, etc. This is building your sphere of influence. You build it out. First, the people closest to you in that sphere, and then the people who are farther away from you as far as friendship or relationships, okay? And then contact every single person on that list and let them know you're in the business. See, this becomes a lot easier to do now. How could you reach everybody like that? Oh, come on. Really? Facebook. Come on, you got all your friends, family, and fake friends there?
That's social media.
Yeah, this is social media on Facebook, right? Facebook already got that. So you don't have to start from scratch. You already got a list of people there. But I'm telling you, even people that I got friends who aren't on Facebook, that aren't on social media. All right. So you gotta have lists of these people. You know, I got family members and relatives, maybe some of the older ones too. I got some that are on, some of them that aren't. But you got to reach out to people and let them know you're in a business. Because I'm telling you, the first time that you have a family member or a close friend that is looking to buy or sell or rent, and they don't use you, you're going to be pissed. Right? I mean, and it's going to happen. It's happened to me, you know, but I'm not going to let it happen to me anymore. I make sure that all my family, friends, and coworkers, everybody knows that I'm in the business, you know, and I won't let them live it down if they use somebody else. So they come to me for advice. They come to me when they want to sell their property or buy one, right? Because I won't let them live it down. All right. And you got to be like that, you know. Now, some people are like, oh, no, you don't do business with family. Why? You looking to screw them over? You know, I do business with family. I'll do business with family. Absolutely. Because I'm going to provide to them the same level of service that I would to anybody else. I'm going to try to be the best agent I can. I mean, I'm not there to push a property on anybody that they don't want. My job is to show you what you want in the areas you're looking for in your price range. And you make the decision whether it is that you want to put an offer in on it or not. Right? So how am I going to screw over a family member like that? Right? You're not unless you're a dubious person. So let's see. Let everyone you know you're in the business. Do not be a secret agent. All right. Social media, but obey the terms of services. Like before you advertise on Facebook, if you're not using Facebook advertising, you cannot market your services and sell products or services through your personal Facebook page. That's a violation of their terms of service, and they could cancel your Facebook account for that. And then you guys would just die without Facebook, right? So create a business page for yourselves. And after you created that business page, make posts on that business page and then share it to your personal page and then tell people to pass that around and join your business page. That's how you build that viral, you make viral posts about stuff people want to see. And here's my 2 cents. Now you could do with it what you want, but let me ask you a question. Let me ask you if anybody here got friends that sell stuff on Facebook? So they push or market services or items.
Instagram.
You know?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Are they constantly doing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's annoying.
yeah.
I noticed that my friends, especially the ones in real estate, they do a lot of videos now. They're
All
big
right.
on that.
Do they do a lot of annoying stuff though? Always showing you stuff that you don't want to see? Like, here's my overpriced listing, but I'm not even looking for a house. Like, they're always posting crap like that you're ignoring. And then sometimes you could click on those little dots on the side. They say show less of these posts. You're kind of defeating the purpose as an agent by constantly showing people and advertising and marketing things that they're not looking for. Okay. So don't do that. Use social media to market things that they may be interested in. Like make cool posts that are maybe make posts that are maybe industry related as far as news and interest rates, just as information and news. Don't put up there some overpriced listing in an area they're probably not looking to move to or buy and out of their price range. put up posts over there, you know, how to carve a pumpkin during Halloween or creative Halloween costumes, you know, things like that that go viral. And then that'll attract traffic to your page. And then that Facebook page, you should have that story is not completely on your Facebook page, but it's actually from your real estate website that you put a link to on your business Facebook page that you then share. So now you're generating traffic and driving people to your real estate website, that you post these articles in a blog on your real estate website. There's another reason why that's the best way to do it, is because that way you could be sure that that page, that blog page, that article that you wrote is in compliance with all the real estate commission's advertising rules. You got to have the link to the brokerage. You have to have the name of your company and its phone number and your logo and your name as it is on your license, and all the information that's required to be in ads. Don't forget about that stuff from chapter 2. You got to be in compliance. Facebook may not give you enough room to do it if you in just a little post. So what you do is you create a blog article that has all that information for the requirements to do for any ad. And now you just take the link to that from your website, post it on your Facebook page, and then you can share that on your Facebook business page, and then you can share it with all your friends on your personal page. But share the types of posts that people are looking for. You know, make weird videos, make videos about towns. Maybe you're into flying your drone. Do you have a drone, or anybody into drones and flying those remote control helicopters and stuff? I'm into stuff like that. So what you do is you make videos of like aerial videos of your town, or maybe about the parks and attractions. Maybe you could do it on the ground level if you're not into that stuff. Like video yourself kind of like you're a talk show host, you know, talking about places to eat and attractions in towns, and why is this town interesting? Well, the train station's close to here. It's centrally located. And as you do that and you build it up and you keep doing stuff like that, you're pretty much making your own little private show that's published on your own website and YouTube and stuff. And all the stuff drives traffic and it's original content. And now people come to there, they're driven to your website, that now when they're looking to buy or sell real estate, they see this is produced by a real estate agent. So they see that you're very involved, and they may come to you because you're seen now as the expert. You're always in front of them with these videos about the towns, about the schools, about the taxes, about decorations and how to maintain your garden and septic tanks and this and that and the other thing, right? You're a very informative agent that knows their stuff. So who do you think they're going to want to go to when it's time to sell their home or buy one?
Yeah.
But that's how you build it up, guys. It's not going to happen overnight, but you got to start building up your own websites so you don't rely on your brokers to feed you, to spoon feed you leads. Because if you rely on that, you're going to starve.
So Victor, do you recommend that starting out, we use the website that the broker provides us with, or just have our own website created?
Well,
I keep going back and forth on this.
Both. Your brokerage has, but what if you leave that broker? Then go
That's, yeah.
somewhere, right?
No, you're right. Okay.
Listen, in the coming slides, I'm going to give you a resource. Real estate websites are notoriously expensive because the technology for being updated every day with new listings that are put in the MLS, you got to accurately have the statuses updated and all the information and driving the pictures in. Do you know how to integrate that stuff into a website? Most people probably don't. You know, you're not tech geeks like that and programming, but so a lot of these websites that have that technology built into them are expensive. You can be spending thousands of dollars in setup charges, okay, let alone the monthly maintenance of them. So I'm going to give you guys a resource that gives of a website. It's not the best in the world, but it has a lot of these advanced features in them that you're going to pay $99 a year. All in, $99 a year to have the website with your own lead generation that's tied into all the MLSs that you're a member of, where those listings are automatically fed in and people can search your website like they're searching the MLS. And when they inquire about properties, guess where those leads go to? Directly to you. They don't go through the broker. They don't go through anyone else. They go directly to you. And if you build traffic to your own website like that, then it doesn't matter. Even if you leave that brokerage and you go somewhere else, you'll still have that traffic to your website, and you're still going to be driving that those leads. So that'll be yours, right? So you're not going to be dependent on anybody. All right, but you still need to have your brokerage advertised there, links back to your brokerage website. You got to be in compliance with all the advertising rules. Do not screw that up. Okay.
Victor, since we're talking a little bit about the business side, how much again did you suggest or recommend that we, have saved or have ready for the business or the LLC or whatever? I know it's going to take a year, or it could take a year.
No LLC. You guys do not need to register yourselves as an LLC.
Okay.
You're protected through your broker. You have
Okay.
insurance and emissions insurance. You do not, listen, your broker's not going to pay you under the name of an LLC. That's illegal.
Mhm.
They got to pay you directly in your
Right.
Okay, so you don't need to register an LLC to file your taxes either. You just file as an individual, and you're an independent contractor.
Okay, got it. Okay.
How much money do you need? Well, it really depends on where you're doing business and what your real estate market is. Are you going to be working commercial or residential or property management? It could vary greatly. But I would say just for your typical residential agent to get a good start, including the cost for the school and business cards, advertising, websites, errors and emissions insurance, all that, you're going to need about $1,500 to $2,000 from start to get a good start in real estate. $1,500 to $2,000 all in. But you don't need all that right now just yet. So relax, take a breath. Don't freak out yet. Okay. You don't need all that yet. I gave you guys a bunch of sample job interview questions to ask brokers before you go work for them in that shared Google Drive. If you guys recall, in the
Right.
shared Google Drive, you have
Yeah, I'm looking at the link right now, actually.
the supplemental materials folder, interview questions. Okay. Asking, how much do you charge for errors and emissions insurance? Does it need to be paid up front, or will you take it out of my first commission? Can that make a big difference? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I give you guys a lot of useful questions in there to ask too, that to try to maybe even curb, make a smart decision when selecting a broker too. What are they offering their agents? Are you getting a website? Are you getting a web page through your broker or no? Or you may not. Are you getting leads from the broker at all? Are there any guaranteed leads? Any
Can you get it through your broker?
What's that? Yeah, what?
No, you said do you want to get your website, or you getting it through your broker?
Your broker will have their own website, or they should. But not all websites are created equal. All right. There are very advanced websites, and there are ones that are not so advanced. And it may not be apparent just by looking at the website, all the features and the back office and the lead generation tools and distribution tools and follow-up tools that may be included in it. Whether there's a mobile app for you, is your broker just giving you a profile on their website, or are they giving you actual, if somebody enters the brokerage's website, your profile, are all the properties they're looking at now on the site going to come as leads directly to you, or are they still going through the broker? I mean, there's different kinds of websites on how they're set up that could be advanced, they could make a big difference. But for now, I'm not going to try to give you a whole lesson on that. Instead, I'll tell you just get your own website as well as your broker having one. So have your own real estate website. I'm going to show you on the coming slide of where you could get some cheaply. I'm going to show you how to advertise on a shoestring budget too. Look, blogging and answering questions on websites like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, City Data. City Data is another really good website too, to blog on and drive traffic to your websites. Mailings, postcards, letters. You guys ever get something in the mail from a real estate agent?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
What did you do with it?
I kept some, dude.
Okay, you kept some. Okay.
Threw it away.
Hold on a second. I'm not asking for a particular answer. I'm not expecting a particular answer. I just want an honest opinion. What did you do with it? Somebody
Threw
said.
it away.
Okay.
As matter of no. As matter of fact, when a friend of mine was looking
Okay, so you
for a house,
okay.
I directed that to him, to the guy.
Okay. So,
I never met the guy before. I just received the postcard in the mail.
okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna come back to you in a second. Lisa, why'd you throw it away?
Well, I looked at it, I looked at it first and then I threw it away because
Okay.
I'm not looking to buy a house.
Okay, and that makes sense. Most people who get postcards and mailings from brokers, they do exactly what you did. You throw it, you look at it and you throw it away. Are there any agents that typically keep sending you the postcards and the mailings?
No, not necessarily.
You don't keep seeing the same ones over again? So that's an opportunity in your market right there. Because agents should send you things on a regular basis. I mean, not weekly or anything like that, but every month or every couple of months, send out a postcard to their farm, to that area. Even though you may not have been ready to looking to buy or sell and need a real estate agent at the time. Who was it that I was just talking to that said they kept it and they shared it with their friend?
Elizabeth.
Okay.
That's me.
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing all the names on the side here. I only see a couple here. So the okay, so you actually got a mailing and then you shared it with a friend. Okay, so if your friend actually uses it, check that out. That mailing actually is getting a little bit of a response for that agent, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now, all an agent needs is a 1% response rate. And that mailing that they sent out, the cost to print that mailing material, all the postage to pay to mail out that mailer, guess what? It's paying for itself. Because if, let's say I send out 300 mailers and 1% response rate, 3 people reply. Only one of them turns into a client. If I get a closing on that, guess what? Boom. I'm earning thousands of dollars. That more than pays for that mailing 10 times over.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, our friend, she referred our friend to him too. And she, our friend get it home through him too.
My point is,
So you really never know.
my point is mailings work. So
Yeah.
they'd be like, oh, I'm more tech, mailings, that's ancient. Listen, it works. Why do you think agents are still doing it? Because it works.
It works.
If it didn't work, they wouldn't be pissing away all the money that it costs to do it. Right? Networking with lenders and asset managers. Look, bank-owned properties are called REO, standing for real estate owned. Contact banks. Banks may list properties with you. Reach out to HUD, Fannie Mae, Indy Mac, or other lenders. Billboards or the mini billboards, your business cards. Print out a lot of business cards, guys. I'm going to show you a place where you could get them done cheaply. Your brokerages may try to sell them, especially if it's a franchise. They have a preferred printer to use and they make money off that crap. And those business cards are usually expensive. I'm going to show you where you could get them printed out on the cheap. Okay. But keep in mind, you need to obey your broker's rules. You can't just come up with your own business card designs with any broker that's trying to create a brand anyway. They should have an office policy on the color schemes, on the logo colors and layout, and they want their brand represented in a particular way. So you got to follow what your brokerage's rules are on advertising pieces too. Bus stop benches and public garbage and recycle bin covers you see in the community. Sometimes they have little billboards on them. Events events for networking, whether it's a hockey game, a basketball game, or what have you, or maybe it's just a local kids PAL league or something. High school events. Network at those events when you're there, or maybe even advertise there as well. What about business networking groups? Maybe you may want to join one of them where other businesses will help promote you. Your churches and social groups, hobbies that you may have. Anybody golf, play pool? I play like in a pool league, bowling, sports, or hobbies. I don't care if it's a knitting class or a Bible study class. Everybody needs a place to live. You got to network with people. So if you be involved in your community with people in one way or another. I play pool in a bar league. I hang out with people who are drinking and playing pool in a league. But you know what? I come across a lot of people, and those people, they need a place to live too, right? So by letting everybody know there that I'm in the business, am I opening myself up to more clientele possibly? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Diner placemats, although they really don't work well and they're kind of expensive. But you see agents advertising on them sometimes. Listen, I've tested a lot of different marketing things, and some things work and some things are a colossal waste of money, depending what your goal is. Is it to get business or is it to just build brand awareness? You know, there's two different types of marketing, all right, to build branding and to build business. Getting promotional materials made up, like magnetic business cards, desk calendars or magnet calendars, to-do list magnets, t-shirts, hats, drinks, the koozies, you know, the drink container koozies, stress balls, pens, things like that that could be branded with your contact information, company name, and all that, handing them out like they're chiclets, you know. Advertising on shopping carts. You ever go to your, you know, food shopping? You ever see the shopping carts? Ever have a real estate agent advertising on those? They're constantly in your face, right? How about the media, like television, radio, or internet? You know, you'd be surprised how cheap it is to get on TV advertising with your local cable company. You could be on a certain channel that's a national channel, but only the cable company can control what ads or maybe on what channels and what geographic regions close to you. They can break it down to the town that you're advertising it in. So, you know, contact those local cable companies and see about creating a commercial and advertising your services. You'd be surprised how inexpensive it could be. Radio tends to be on the more expensive side. So you better have money in your advertising budget for that. Real estate magazines and newspapers, the print media, newspapers, people are still looking at them, I guess, you know, but they usually, when you advertise in the newspaper, they also have websites these days, and they're also
Hey, Victor,
website. Yeah.
I actually have an idea regarding the real estate magazines, newspapers, and media. Like a few years back, I took the steps to try to launch a reality show
Okay.
idea, and I learned and I hired a publicist to help me out. And she referred me to this website that's called Help a Reporter Out. Have you ever heard about that?
Oh, what?
Help a Reporter Out. Like it's called, yeah, it's Help a Report. It's HARO is the website. If you Google it, you'll find it. HARO.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, so basically you sign up, it's free. And it's basically reporters, journalists, radio show hosts, anybody in the media industry who's looking for like a specialist in a certain area. And if you, for example, a radio host or a podcast.
I'm sorry. I've been contacted, and I've been in magazines. I've been in the newspapers a lot, where the reporters needed a specialist in real estate in a particular topic when they're writing a story.
That's exactly what it is.
Expert, yeah. But I've had them come to me where I never marketed my services. Maybe I used their newspaper to advertise, and so they go to their advertisers first. But and they would use you as the expert in their articles. Yeah, I've been in them before. But if they got a website now to help promote that stuff where you can sign up, that's not bad too. But you should know what you're talking about if you're going to be.
Yeah. But that's a good place too to go if you want to
give you time to prepare and do research. You got to know the answers right there when they're interviewing.
Right.
But yeah, I've been at that. But listen, I recently got contacted by somebody who I actually talk about sometimes in this classes. You guys ever hear about a guy from way back? He used to have a talk show. His name was Montel Williams. Anybody remember him?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, I know him.
Montel Williams. He used to have the Montel Williams show. Somebody from Montel Williams people reached out to me recently that he's trying to start some kind of a new show about people and getting started in having places to live and then how to all kinds of tips pertaining to that. And they reached out to me to see if I was interested in. No. Montel, I'm sorry, that was a different show from HGTV. Montel Williams, he's got a new project about people for new careers on how to get employment, especially in the environment that we're seeing right now in the COVID lands and all that stuff. But different industries and work they want represented, and they reached out to me about for the schools to interview with them and talk to them a little bit about getting started in real estate industry as a possible career path, because he's starting some kind of new show about career paths and such. So yeah, I mean, they'll reach out to you sometimes too. And why did they reach out to me? Because they see I'm up there in Google. You know, I'm up there high ranking on all the search engines, you know. And how do I do that when I spend practically no money on advertising? You know, well, that's my secret. I write articles, and I have websites that link back to me that are related to my topic. And then you'll get higher rankings organically through the search engines without being paid. And then you get all kinds of places. I've had HGTV, I've had Montel Williams, I've had the newspapers, the magazines reach out to me. I've had articles where I was quoted as the expert in there, you know, for short sales and such like that, you know. Interesting stuff. But yeah, good idea. But how about this one too? You guys are going to have on social media, there's some groups that agents are creating all the time. There's a new one, Realtors Helping Realtors, I think it is, something like that. But these are agents all over the United States. It's not just in New Jersey, but a girl posted something in there, and some of them are new agents, you know, asking for help and advice. You know, she said, what should I do and how should I prepare? I have an appointment to meet with a representative from a mortgage company. Should I get them a gift or something? And everybody's like laughing. They're like, no, you don't do nothing like that. If anything, they're trying to get free business from you. They're trying to get you. You're the one where they come with buyers come to you that are going to need to get pre-qualified. They're going to want you to refer them to them so that they could get that business. And they're going to be trying to wine and dine you. So don't go buying them nothing. But I tell you what, don't let them get away with, when you guys start working at offices, they're going to approach you with free coffee and donuts. You know what? I'll take the coffee, the donuts, keep to yourself because they go straight to my belly, you know. Instead, how about this? How about you run a bunch of my mailing pieces through your company's postage machine, because postage is kind of pricey, and we can do some co-marketing. We can have these agreements here, or maybe how about you pay for my magazine ad, or at least half of that magazine ad. And so this way I could get it in the magazine, and I get leads, I get buyers, I'll run them by you. Here's a way to get advertisement and you're saving money. Get sponsors. How about on your own websites? Sell advertising, have a sponsored section for real estate attorneys, home inspectors, and all that, and have them pay to be up there. Once your website starts getting traffic, I mean, if it has no traffic, I don't know how much they're going to pay, you know, but for mailings and things like that, where they could see a direct result, yeah, perhaps. Or on your websites, once they start getting traffic, yeah, have them do some co-marketing with you. You know, don't let them get the business for free. You're spending money to try to get it, right? You're spending your time and effort. All right, let's try to wrap this up. Real estate magazines, FSBOs, for sale by owners. You think those people are looking to sell? Yeah, they just don't want to use you yet. Don't be rude and nasty to them, because statistics show that it's about 3 to 5% of for sale by owners are successful. That means about 95% of them will fail in trying to sell their homes by themselves. That's a huge opportunity if you're there to provide them encouragement and support. And if you be polite to them, you give them your business card, you say, listen, if any time in the future you should decide you don't want to, you're tired of trying to sell your home on your own and you're unsuccessful in doing it, and you would like to seek the help of a professional, I'd be glad to be there for you. I would be honored if you would give me that opportunity to try to market your home. Here's my business card. Okay. And then keep in touch with them every now and then, see how they're doing. You know, you never know, they may give you the listing, right? Expired listings. Did those people show an interest in selling their homes? You think they still want to sell them? Probably, but they've had a little experience with real estate agents now. So they're probably going to be a little harder nut to crack, but nonetheless, they're still interested in selling their property. So give them a crack. Okay. Reach out to the expired listings, but do not reach out to them before the listings expire. And after the listings expire, before you reach out to them, make sure that the property was not relisted. because it's against the law to solicit the business of another broker. So even when you're sending out those mailings, remember I told you, you got to put a disclosure on them. Please disregard this offer if your property is already listed with another broker. At minimum, you should have a disclosure like that. Open houses. You got buyers coming into those open houses, and sometimes those buyers are not just renters or living with mommy and daddy. Sometimes they already have a house they need to sell. I've gotten listings before by hosting open houses, and you probe and you ask, well, is there something you need to sell before you buy, or where are you living now? That's a very important question that most agents don't ask, that they overlook. They automatically think that this person is just trying to get out of their parents' house still, or wherever their situation is, but they may, or they're renters. You got to assume that they may be owners too. Okay. And can you guys get business from an open house when you don't have a listing? How do you do an open house when you don't have a listing? Go to your broker. Go to look at your brokerage's inventory. Contact the agents in your office and see if you could do an open house for one of those agents' listings. They'll probably be happy because they don't want to sit there for 4 hours to do an open house. They'll probably be happy for you to do it. And then any buyers that come in there, those are your leads. And if any of them have a home that they need to sell, guess what? That's your listing too. You're welcome for all them tips, by the way. Did the class fall asleep?
No.
All right. What we got?
I'm still here.
19 people and nobody's answering me, so you know.
Well, every time I be muted, I think I'm not muted. And
All right, you gotta unmute yourself. Okay. All right. Well, check this out. This next slide. You're welcome. These are advertising resources for you. Here's where you could get cheap postage from. This is my top secret resource. Don't share it with anybody. USPS.com. You know what that is? United States Postal Service.
Yeah.
But wait. There's more. /EDDM. That stands for Every Door Direct Mail. Let's go there. I want to show you about this. You know, when you guys send out postcards, you're going to need to have a database of people to send it to. That costs money, unless you go to the tax records and you know the streets, and you could search and make labels from the tax record system. That way you could create your own database to try to save yourself some money instead of buying a database, but that takes work too. Now, postal regulations require a label be on all your mailing pieces of who you're sending it to. So you need to have the name and address of the person you're sending it to, or the words or current resident on there. Otherwise, those pieces will bounce back to you and they'll fail to send. Guess what? Labels cost money, the ink to print them costs money, and the time for you to affix those labels to the mailing pieces takes time, and time is money too, right? I'm going to show you how to save a lot of money. All you got to do is supply enough mailing pieces to the Postal Service, and they'll put a piece in everybody's mailbox. Let's watch the video that they have here. Let's see. Let's watch this video. Let them give a little explanation for you. All right.
I can't see the video, Victor.
The people near your business who matter most.
Oh, matter.
With Every Door Direct Mail. It features an online mapping tool for finding potential customers near your business. To use the mapping tool, enter a starting point. Then select nearby postal routes where you want your mail pieces delivered. You can see.
Okay, how do you do that? All you do is you hover your mouse over the streets here that are on, kind of looks like a Google map, right? You just hover your mouse over the streets and you see they'll light up different colors here. And if you click on one of those, it'll show you how many mailing pieces, how many residential properties are there, how many businesses are on there. You could even select if you don't want it to send to businesses, but only to residences or post office boxes. You could select the age range or the incomes of the persons on those routes. You could highly select who you're going to be sending, or what areas and who you're sending those mailing pieces to. And Then it gives you a running total here on the side of how many mailboxes there are on that route, and how much the total cost is going to put a mailing piece in every single one of those mailboxes. Look at this one. 1,052 mailboxes would cost $213.23. Let's see, what does that work out to? What's the cost of a price of a first class stamp, guys? It's like 51 cents. Postcard, maybe a little bit cheaper. Let's take a look. 1,052 mailboxes divided by $213.23. That's 4.9 cents per mailing for postage. And it gets sent out first class. And you don't got to buy a database. You don't got to print anything on your mailing pieces. You don't have to buy labels. You don't got to worry about ink to print the labels. You don't have to worry about the time to affix those labels. I am saving you guys tons of money with this little tip here.
So whose name goes on those postcards? Current owner?
None. You basically, you select the routes that you want. These weird shapes, these lit up areas, postal carrier routes.
Right.
And look, you see the route number here on the left-hand side?
Right.
If I click on one route, I click on another route, maybe I want in this area to send to.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the running total there on the side, how much it's going to cost to put a mailing piece in everyone. If you click continue and you go to checkout, you pay for the postage online and you print out a receipt that'll show you all the carrier routes and the number of mailing pieces you need to provide to the post office. You take that receipt to the post office with the number of mailing pieces, give it to the postal carrier at the main post office, and they will put one mailing piece in every mailbox along that route. You don't have to put any address or label or names on it.
Okay.
But you still have the expense of getting the postcards, right? Having them printed and stuff.
No, hold on a second. I'm going to show you a cheap place where you could get that done. Let's first finish looking at their little expense here, and then I'm going to show you where you can get stuff printed really cheap.
Demographic data based on census reports, like age range and average household size and income, and choose among available routes. When you're finished planning your mailing, you can schedule it for delivery. Each mail piece costs less than the price of a stamp to send. Creating your mailing is easy too. You can do it yourself or find a list of printers or mail service providers on USPS.com. When your mail pieces are ready, bring them to the post office and we'll deliver to every address along the routes you selected. Reach potential customers simply and cost-effectively. Every door direct mail from the U.S. Postal Service. Your post office anywhere.
That's an amazing cost-saving tool. So sometimes if you want to send out let's say you have a listing, you want to send out a just listed. Hold on one second. If you want to send out a just listed postcard for when you get a listing or just sold or anything, you could put in the property's address and select around it and just send to the homes in that neighborhood without having any addresses or labels, you know, and it's automatically going to get sent out to everybody on that route. All right, so it's a pretty good tool there. All right, now this slide has a lot of resources for you. Super inexpensive, high quality printing you could get from a place called gotprint.com. I mean, there's other places you could get printing done cheap too. You could go to Staples. You could go to what's that one that's always on TV that everybody knows as well? Well, a lot of people use it.
Vistaprint.
Vistaprint. Okay. Now, I'll even add those to this slide, but in reality, there's cheaper places than Vistaprint. So as I'm showing you here, so I'll put Gotprint, Vistaprint.
Uprinting is a good one too.
What's that?
Uprinting. I use Uprinting.
Uprinting.
Yes.
And what do they charge for maybe 5,000 business cards?
I know 1,000 goes for 50. I didn't do 5,000 yet.
All right, hold on. I'm not going to even add that one then, because I'm trying to give you the cheapest resources possible. Check this one out. Listen, I know how to shop on a shoestring budget. Call me cheap, I don't care. But I look for quality products. I'm thrifty, okay? So let's leave it at that. Okay, here, 500 standard business cards, 850. Okay, let's look at, we want more than that. We want a lot. And we could get them, they got all kinds of thick, high quality business cards, UV coatings. Here, let's do this. Let's look up for a glossy business card. Look, you could have all different kinds of finishes on them. So let's see. We're gonna look up pricing on a 14 point, which is a thick card, thick business card, a 14 point. That's, let's see, some card stocks, 14 point, printing on the front and back. Oh, these are 25,000. Here's 5,000 business cards, printing on both sides, UV coating and glossy, $65.80 in full color for 5,000. You got yourself a new shop to go shopping for? Shopping at? You just said you get 1,000 for that, right? Here's 5,000. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You get all kinds of cheap stuff from these guys, and it is high quality print stuff. They use they do digital printing, but they also use the 10-ton Heidelberg presses, printing presses, you know, but your artwork has to be print ready. All right, let's go back to the slideshow here. So I added Vistaprint and Staples here too. Let's see. You could get a domain name for your websites, you know, www.somethingorother.com, GoDaddy.com. You could get them there pretty cheap, and they're reputable. Real estate custom websites. Remember I told you you could get that cheap website, fully interactive. They'll even give you a custom cell phone app for your website that matches. Websitebox.com. So I'm going to click on that. Let's go there really quick. $99 real estate website. It used to be a one-time ever fee of $99. Now it's $99 a year. So they're $99 a year for a fully interactive website. Here you can see a bunch of designs that they have to start out with. Then you can edit the designs, and it's got a lot of integration with your MLS. I mean, they got some nice looking designs, you know, and look, they got the matching social media. It'll look good on rather the matching cell phone, you know, so they got a lot of different designs, and you could change these pictures, the images and the layouts, but they got a bunch of different designs there for you. Well, let's look over the features of these websites, just a real quick rundown, unless they got a video here. I think they actually have a video somewhere on this site. Let me see if we could show the video, because it's very highly customizable. And then the back end, you could tie it in. You could see your performance in the search engines. This is the way that people could search for homes, how it's going to look on your website. Kind of looks like Zillow and Trulia, doesn't it? Realtor.com. Because so it integrates the MLS database into your website. You can add a lot of information in their custom domain. You could add your custom domain name now that you got from GoDaddy to your website. So people go to your website address instead of some web hosts. All right. And you can integrate your Gmail or Gmail Sync, your calendar, Google Drive, all that stuff. You can integrate it into the website as well. Only $99 a year. You see all the different things they do. You can have the live chat there, a contact manager, your emails integrated, the MLS search is integrated. It's all in one. And for $99 a year, you ain't beating that, guys. You ain't beating that price. And if it generates one lead for you, you're paid for years. You're paid up for years, right? It covers all the MLSs in the area are covered in there. I could have sworn they had a video somewhere, but either way, can't find it, so forget it. And they got it available for agents, teams, and offices. They have different types of layouts for that. That's websitebox.com. Once again, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I want you guys to be successful, okay? So I'm not gonna count on your broker giving you these resources. Hell, your broker may not even know about them. Realty Juggler is another type of contact manager. It's also a way to try to make flyers, and it has automatic mailings for, like, if you want to put somebody on a drip campaign with letters for lead follow-ups and stuff. I think they're $99 a year too, or something like that. Let's go to their website. They give you a free 90-day trial here. Realty Juggler, it's a software that has all these things built into it, you know, drip campaigns, automatic birthday reminders to keep in touch with your past clients and potential clients and what have you. Qualifications to mortgage calculators built into it. You want to calculate and keep track of your commissions and expenses, be able to send people text messages through the automatic text messages for leads, alerts, and appointment reminders, and all kinds of stuff like that. It used to be, it's $179 a year, but they give you a 90-day free trial to see if it's something that you want, if you're interested in. And remember, all these expenses are business expenses, so they're tax deductible. Top Producer is another contact manager, but it's a lot more expensive than that one. Prospects Plus does some of what Realty Juggler does, but actually it focuses only on making stationery and business cards, and it comes out with new designs and marketing ones by their professional graphic designers on a regular basis. Property flyer sheets, all that stuff. Their software, I think it's all done online now. I don't know if they still sell it as software, as separate software, but it's very good stuff. They come out with all these different things. You just change the logo, change your contact, your picture, and the ads are already made up, and they'll even send it out through every door direct mail for you if you want. You could schedule postcard mailings of people's birthdays and all kinds of crap. They've got tons and tons of different marketing campaigns, property flyer sheet layouts, real estate brochures for yourself and your services. If you don't know how to design and good at software and graphics and all that stuff, editing, they've got it already for you. You just plug in the pictures and they change the information, and the professional designers do that. All right. Lens Design is another print house that makes custom ad postcards and stuff like that. You should check them out. The Red X is an excellent software. I highly recommend it. If your broker does not have it, sometimes brokers may have the software they'll share with you, but you guys could get this on your own too. You'll pay for that. The Red X, remember I told you could prospect for sale by owners or expired listings, but before you reach out to expired listings, make sure they didn't relist the property. This software, you plug in all your MLS information, it'll automatically daily do a search for you for listings that just expired, and it'll get you all the contact information of the homeowner. In the MLS, if you look, real estate agents put down the homeowner's phone number, but they usually actually put their own phone number there so that you don't go contacting their client directly. So this software will actually cross-reference that information from public records to make sure that you actually get the homeowner's contact information and not the agents if they put wrong information in the MLS deliberately. Instead of you notifying that agent with a call that it's time to renew a listing that expired that they may not be aware of, instead you'll actually get that person's information, and they cross-reference it to make sure the listing didn't get relisted. They scan for sale by owner websites. They could even cross-reference them from do not call lists. So they've got it for expired listings, geo leads, for sale by owners, for rent by owners, pre-foreclosures, and all that. You'd have to check their website, see how much it's going for these days. You could do some premium advertising packages on homes.com, I recommend. You got to check with them, whatever their pricing is, and then try to negotiate with them a little bit. Same thing for realtor.com, realtor.org. Here's a free tool for you. Once you get your real estate license, guys, you guys are going to become members of the Realtors Association. And part of being a member of the New Jersey Association of Realtors, you guys are going to get access to NARRPR.com. And you could go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and download the NAR RPR app. It's called RPR, Realtor RPR. That stands for Real Property Resources. And you could do research and you could put together CMAs for people. It's software that helps you do research and puts together the comparison market analysis for you. Some MLSs have that built into them too, but this does too. Let me show you. All right, so you're in here, whatever your primary MLS is, that'll be listed up there. But I have 3 MLSs I'm a member of. I have them in the back office in my setup. And you could search for properties in an area, but look, this one just automatically went for my last search. There's in this area here, there's a drawing map, and you see the color codings on the side, properties that are distressed, recently closed sale or leases, pending sales. Any properties with price changes will have a $sign next to them, for sale, for lease. If you have it built into the app on your cell phone and you're standing in front of a house that's listed for sale and you want to know how much that house is, you don't got to go to the MLS and do a search trying to find the property. You open up RPR app, it'll automatically pull up that listing using your GPS. It knows you're in front of that house. It'll search and do the listing for you. You'll have all that property's information directly in front of you. Handy tool, absolutely. You could put together reports. What kind of reports? You could do searches for, let's see, what kind of different reports they have. Property search reports, seller, property flyers you could put together, neighborhood reports, school reports, all kinds of information that buyers may be looking for as well, right? And you can look residential, or you can switch mode and turn it on commercial and look for commercial properties. It's a pretty neat tool that you could search all the MLSs that you're a member of in one search. Instead of having to go to each MLS, you could search, like I'm a member of 3 MLSs. By doing a search here, I'll be searching the listings in all 3 MLSs at one time for properties that meet this criteria. Pretty cool, huh? And it's free. Well, I don't want to say it's free. You pay for it as part of your realtor dues, but it's not at an additional cost for you. So you could create a CMA here, search opportunities, business opportunities for you, or investors, properties you may be searching for. You could prospect for clients even. You could draw a map and do a search in a specific geographic area. Pretty cool tool. And they give you in the learn section, they teach you how to use it all. But you got to become a member of the Realtors Association to get your login first before you can get access to this. All right. Oh, wait, you guys didn't see any of that. How come you didn't say anything to me? Caroline, here's the, I didn't show you the website I went to. Okay, here's the website that has all that information available. It has all that, kind of like a map. You can pull up the information of a property. You can see this one's pending. You can click on this one, or that one there next to it. Get that. Get that property's information. Get out. Going for that much. Holy shit. Prices went up there. All right. Anyway, you can see a lot of information here. You can put together these reports, the CMAs and all that stuff. It looks a little bit different on your cell phone when you pull it up, but I explained to you what it does. It's a really good tool and it is at no additional cost for you. All right, so you're back at this. Okay, design software. If you guys want to have, you're creative and you like to edit photos for your listings, cropping them, adjusting the color a little bit. Don't go erasing stuff that's there and totally modifying photos. You could end up having legal issues with that. But here's some software ones. Here's a free one, canva.com. That's a free tool that's available for graphic editing and page layout stuff. Here is one that is much more powerful. It's a competitor for Adobe. It's from a Australian company called Serif, SERIF.com. And their software products, forget about the one that comes with your Apple, forget about the one that comes with your Microsoft. They have, what is it for making flyers and stuff? It's geez, I forget what their software, some kind of page layout or designer. I forget what it's called. It's crap. This is excellent. They've got designers for graphic designers. Look at this. It's $49. Photo editors, $49. And you own the software, including free upgrades for life. And this one is the publisher, the page layout. Find out more. $49, guys.
Don't see it.
Oh, thank you for telling me now. Okay, so there we go. So they have the Affinity Designer, where you can make all kinds of designing of software for people who have graphic ability for making art. Photo editing software, which you're probably going to need some kind of either Adobe or some kind of photo editing software for cropping photos, adjusting the light, making sure the photos look their best when you put them in the MLS. And page layout. So this one, publisher, look at, they're all $50 each. You know, to get the Adobe products, you're going to spend 50 times that amount of money. Or you're going to have to pay a subscription, which is not cheap. Here, take a look at what this software could do. I'll play their video here and then we'll move on.
You're gonna love me, you're gonna love me, you're gonna love me, you're gonna love me, you're gonna love me.
By the way, they're going so fast through the different features that this software can do in page layout. Just over here, if you're noticing what they're doing, they're cycling through the text. You already have the text on the screen. They're just scrolling down through the fonts, and the fonts are already changing on all the text on your work, whatever it is. Whether it's going to be for business card layouts or flyers for property handout sheets or mailings or what have you. Take a look.
You're gonna love me. 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 You don't love me now. You don't love me tomorrow.
They're basically taking photos that are within a shape. You could make a shape and put a photo in your layout for your page design, and then you could move around the image within the photo. Usually this requires several different software. You got to pull the image out, crop it, adjust it, and then you could put it in the or change the shape, and then you could put it in your design. Here you're doing it on the fly, interactive. It is, and they've got tutorial videos on how to do it all.
You don't love me now, you gonna love me tomorrow.
See how they're creating the page layout, moving the elements. You could actually create a page layout for the flyer where you want the pictures of the properties to go, and then just have that as a template now. And anytime you get a new listing, just drag and drop the photos and they'll automatically fit into those boxes to the layout that you already created one time, you know, and you could reuse it over and over again. It's really cool.
You're gonna love me. You're gonna love me. You're gonna love me.
They just showed you how to remove an image from a background. You guys ever want to remove your picture, your image from the background behind you, and then be able to put that on a different piece of artwork? You could do that. Maybe on your business card.
Super,
Have
super,
text
super,
that's
super
not in a
cool.
straight line. You know, it's really cool software. This tutorial is going on and on and on, or this introduction is going on and on, but you guys get the idea. If you're interested, go check it out, serif.com. All right, and then QR code generators. Here's a free QR code generator I found for you guys. You guys know what a QR code is? Kind of looks like this.
Scan it.
It kind of looks like this right here. You guys ever see
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
QR code generators. Now, all you got to do is you open up your cell phone and you put your camera on that, and it'll automatically do. It could do many things. You could have it automatically direct somebody to a website, or automatically put all of their contact information in that person's contact manager in their cell phone, or you could have it send them a text message, or an email, or an instant message. Or a message on Twitter, or it could display a Facebook button for them, or it could give them a PDF document or an audio file, or display images automatically just by having this image. So, and all you do is you select what it is you want to do. If you want to create a V card, so all your information will be entered, including your website, into that person's cell phone. As if they scan this image. Look at that, look how easy that was to create. And then you could take that custom image here and put it on your business card. You could put it on your advertising or flyers or what have you, and automatically be added to people's cell phones. Did you guys see how that could be very useful? And lastly, QuickBooks Self-Employed. All these expenses for anything that you may have to buy are tax deductible. QuickBooks Self-Employed is a great way for you guys to keep track of all your business expenses, including your car. You could deduct your car on your taxes, speak with your tax professional on how to do it and how much you could do, but you got to keep track of your mileage for the IRS. The QuickBooks Self-Employed version, you install the app in your cell phone. It detects when you're driving down the road. Faster, you're moving down the road faster than a human can walk, a message will pop up on your cell phone. We notice you're taking a ride. Is this a business trip? Yes or no? It's a business trip. It'll ask you if you want to enter more details now or later. And then it'll keep track of it for tax purposes later. That'll be a deductible trip on your taxes. And so that percentage of the time that you use that vehicle for business trips, you could deduct the gas, the maintenance, the leases, or the purchase costs, what have you, for that vehicle from your taxes. All right, that's QuickBooks Self-Employed. So if you guys go to the slideshow, I have all these links available for you right there on the slideshow, but all of these links are also available in the links Word document in the shared Google Drive. So remember, the shared Google Drive, hold on one second. I got a lot of windows open. I got to close this stuff. In the shared Google Drive, where the slideshows are, you have the class links Word document. It has every link that I show you in this class is in that Word document. Okay. It's also where you could download these slideshows. All right, moving on. When we get listings, we have to enter property information into the MLS. We have to gather a lot of information, like the names and addresses of the owners, adequate description of the property, maybe the lot sizes, numbers of bedrooms, bathrooms, what floors they're on, type of flooring, type of cooling and heating systems, the room size. I would not quote square footage of a house unless you have an architectural design, the blueprint, okay? That opens you up for lawsuits if you screw up. The construction and age of the building, you can get that stuff from tax records. It's available sometimes. Information relative to the neighborhood, you need to gather to put into your listings. the current tax figure you would get from the tax records. Every MLS that you're a member of, you guys are going to have access to and a tax record system. But remember, I created a tiny URL for you here, tinyurl.com/tax records. Okay, if you search that, it's going to take you, whoop, I screwed up, tiny URL, oh, here it is, NJ tax records /NJ, tinyurl.com/NJ tax records. And it'll take you to the Monmouth Ocean or the Monmouth County tax record system, but it has a listing of all 21 counties in New Jersey of all the tax records. I showed this to you guys in an earlier chapter. But look, you have access to it now for free. Now, the ones that you get in MLSs have a little more information, but these ones are pretty good. For free, you have access to it now.
So you could find information that you would normally find on the MLS on this site?
No, this is for tax records.
Oh, tax records. Oh, okay.
Okay, so for the tax records, not for information about properties for sale, but if you could find out what a property last sold for, what the property taxes are, who the owners are.
Oh, got it.
You could find out if the owner lives in that house or not. You know, you could do a search for absentee owner. Basically, if the owner's address does not match the address of the property, you know that that's an investment property for them. They don't live in it.
Okay.
You can get a lot of information from tax records.
Oh, wow.
All right. Let's see. You could see the special assessments if there's any outstanding or unpaid taxes on a property. Or actually, we have to gather that information. This isn't in a tax record. This is stuff we need to gather. We need to gather when getting a listing. If it's a condominium complex, we need to find out what the monthly maintenance fees are, the HOA dues, the amount of any existing financing outstanding on the seller, so that we could give them a net sheet and do a little math and figure out how much money they're going to net in their pocket at the end of the day. If the property's distressed, is this a short sale? These are important questions to ask the owner when you're going to get a listing. Is your property in distress? What am I asking? Do you owe more in the house than it's currently worth? That would be a short sale then. Are you currently in foreclosure? Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Are you in bankruptcy, or are you going through divorce? These are very important questions to ask, because it's going to change up your approach on how you, the information that you need to gather from that owner, as well as how you market this property, and if you could even help them. Okay. Dealing with divorced couples or couples that are going through divorce can be a touchy situation. Sometimes you can't have the two people in the same room together. So then you have to, meet with them separately. But you got to make sure that they're both willing to work with you before you could get a listing and put it in the MLS, right? So before you bother going through all that work, make sure you speak to both the spouses, make sure they're both okay with working with you. Utility companies, and get a copy of the utility companies, a list of all the utility companies that are supplying the utilities to that property, the contact information, the average utility bills and such. Sometimes buyers ask for this info, although the average utility bills, it's not important to the next person, because the next person may like it always 90 degrees in the house, and their utility bill is going to be higher anyway. Are they on septic, cesspool, or well or city services, right? What appliances, if any, are included in the sale? The chattel, right? What is chattel? What is chattel?
Personal belongings. So.
Tangible personal property, not just personal property, but tangible personal property. You could have intangible assets, right? So these are assets that are tangible. That means something that you could touch or feel, right? Let's see. Are they including the washer and dryer, the refrigerator? What are they including in the sale? What is the date of occupancy or possession that'll be available to that buyer? We need to gather all this information when getting a listing. The possibility of seller, is there a possibility of the seller offering any financing to the buyer? What is the zoning classification of the property? Is it zoned 2 or 3 or 4 family house? Is it mixed use, residential, commercial? We need to know what the zoning of the property is. Never market a property as a 2-family house if it's residentially zoned as a 1-family. Never market it as a 3-family because it has the extra bonus apartment. Anytime people say a bonus apartment, what are they saying to you? Illegal apartment. You can only market that as a 2-family house then. If it's not registered and zoned as a 3-family house, it's a 2-family. Okay. No basement apartments, anything like that, you know. Zoning, is it in a flood zone? Well, here's a link I give you directly to the flood zone information. Well, look on that NAR RPR app or their website, you could also get flood zone information from that as well, from that site too. I give you those 2 links. Detailed list of exactly what will and not be included in the sale. Is the owner taking the chandelier with them? You think it's important to ask to try to avoid problems later? Are they taking the wall-to-wall carpeting with them, which is normally considered part of the real estate? But if they're planning on taking that stuff with them, we need to know. How would we find out that information? Get the seller to fill out what's called a seller property condition disclosure report. You guys remember when we went over one of those? Let me see, seller's property condition disclosure. Let me open it up and show you. All right, so here's the seller property condition disclosure statement. We cannot help the owner fill it out. All we can do is tell them to answer honestly, and it'll help limit their liability in the event of a lawsuit from a potential buyer later down the road. They give all the information about the property. The answer options are yes, no, unknown. If yes, sometimes they ask for additional information like the age of the house, if no, or if the roof had ever been replaced or anything like that. So they got questions about the occupancy, the roof, attics, basements, and crawl spaces, termites, wood destroying insects, dry rot or pests, structural items, additions or remodels that may have been done to the house, plumbing, water, and sewage questions. Questions about heating and air conditioning systems, wood burning stoves and fireplaces, electrical system questions. Questions about the land itself, soil drainage and boundary line questions. Questions about environmental hazards. Questions about deed restrictions or special designations, or is there a homeowners association? And if there is, who are they? What are the monthly fees? Yada, yada, yada. Miscellaneous questions. I'm sure I could come up with even more to add than that. Do they have any reports pertaining to radon inspections or reports, right? Any major appliances included in the sale or excluded? Okay. Solar panel system questions. They got questions about a lot of different things here. All right. By going over that with the owner, what are we doing? We're helping limit their liability in the event of a lawsuit later down the road. Nothing can prevent us from getting sued, from an owner from getting sued, but we could help limit their liability, that they fully disclose the information. The law requires owners to disclose information not only about defects in the property, but material information about the property. And if they don't, the law can hold them liable to triple the actual costs of damages to a potential buyer or to that buyer that they've experienced. But if we fully disclosed it of some sort of a seller disclosure statement, that owner's liability is limited to the actual costs of the damages. So make sure that you make that a point known to the owner that how you're helping them. A lot of times owners don't know how we're helping them. They're like, oh, you just list the property and you get paid your commission and maybe you show up to this and that. Not too much. Look, I carry errors and omissions insurance. That helps That helps limit your liability. I'm having you fill out this form here. If you don't fill out this form or some sort of seller disclosure, you could be held liable in the case of a lawsuit to triple damages. So I'm trying to limit your liability. There's a lot I'm doing that I may not be spelling out to you all the time, but there's a lot of things like this that I am doing behind the scenes to help you, or right in front of you, that I'm not explaining every step of the way perhaps, but I am doing that help you out tremendously. You may be unaware. Realtor services are valuable, more valuable than you think. A detailed list of exactly what will be included in the sale. Licensee should also ask for a copy of the seller's deed and survey, and maybe their original title policy, if they have that paperwork on hand still somewhere. Sometimes they lose it, don't know where it is. And even though you're invited to that owner's property, always check their IDs. Remember that advice I tell you? Always check your IDs. I told you I came across that couple one time where the husband and wife, who wasn't really the wife, it was the girlfriend posing as the wife, trying to list that property for sale when they're going through a divorce. So always check their IDs. All right. Disclose all material information about the property, includes the true tax figure. You know, look up in your tax records, not just how much, don't just ask the owner, how much do you pay in taxes? They may be paying a discounted rate because they're a disabled veteran or they're a senior or some other reason. You know, you need to find a true tax figure that they're paying, or that any next property owner is going to be responsible or obligated to pay. If there's any tenants there, who are the tenants? What are the rental figures? What are their terms? We need a copy of those leases and any expenses, what the security deposits are that you have on file, because those are going to need to be turned over to the next owner, right? They got that money, and the security deposits has to be given to the next owner, because that next owner is going to be responsible for returning it to the tenant if there's no damages. We have to notify that owner of any necessity for getting the certificate of occupancy and fire inspections from the municipality. Notify any potential buyers of flood area information, if it's in a flood zone or not. Could that affect the value of the property? If somebody needs to get flood insurance, absolutely it can. And any restrictive covenants that may be in the deed, like you can never have alcohol on the property, right? Or the property can only be used for a specific purpose, or cannot be used for a specific purpose. You need to know that information. So the way we gather that is we don't just try to remember all that information going into a listing with a blank pad. Go in there and do something like this. Here's the listing sheet I'm going to open up right now. I click on that. That takes us to the Garden State MLS. And they have their listing paperwork open here. I'm going to share with you one of their listing input sheets.
Hello.
All these fields in red, we're required to gather. Somebody's on the phone, let me mute you. We're going to gather all that information and then some. This is the information we have to gather, and additional information we should gather to get a proper listing that we need to put in the MLS, including write-ups of information, room sizes, and or their location. I'll take room sizes, but what I won't do is I won't give square footage of houses. It's easy enough to take a room size. You get a laser tape measure or a sonic tape measure. You put it on a wall, point it at the other wall. You don't need the old-fashioned go there with a tape measure. For like between 40 and 60 bucks, you get either a sonic or a laser room measure or tape measure. Bosch has a good one, but we also, I think, sell the sonic ones, but I think a laser one is better. And it'll give you the room dimensions that you could easier do that instead of climbing over furniture. You put it on the wall, you point it at the other wall, it tells you how many feet and inches it is. Do it to the other wall, you make the notation, and then you can calculate that later. what level they're on. There's a lot of information to gather. What type of kitchen layout is? Do they have a breakfast bar? Is it an eat-in kitchen? Do they have a separate dining area? Is it a galley kitchen? You know, there's a, is it a combination formal dining room kitchen area? Is it a formal dining room? You know, all kinds of stuff like this. Is there an in-law suite there? I suggest if there is, you mark it. Not all MLSs have this, but the ones that do, mark it, because that's a desirable feature. All right, fireplaces, yada yada. As you guys can see, the type of fuel and heating systems that are in the home. As you guys can see, there's a lot of information to gather. And then the owner needs to sign off on it. And then you submit that to the MLS as well when you're inputting the listing. You know what? I'll also show you, I believe I already did at one point, but let me open up and show you a sample listing agreement too. Here's a sample listing agreement from the Garden State MLS. Okay. In there, the owner's information, the property information that's in question for sale or lease, the brokerage's information, the list or sale price, start and expiration date of the listing. You got to disclose your agency relationships, whether you're a seller's agent only, disclose dual agent or transaction broker in this transaction, and how much commission you're offering to the other agent who brings in the buyer, whether they're a sub-agent from your own agency, if they're a buyer's broker from another brokerage, or if they're a transaction broker, how much compensation of that total commission split are you offering to them? And here's where you would write the total commission split or the total commission. Is the owner allowing a lockbox on the property? Remember I showed you guys about the lock boxes, the key boxes and how they work, the digital lock boxes. What is the commission split? All right. And if the property is sold, if the owner ends up selling the property during the listing term to a tenant, a renter that may be there, how much commission are you going to earn from that? I would always fill something out in there, guys. Don't leave that blank. And then this needs to be filled by the agency's representative. That would be you, the listing agent, and either the broker, or if the broker gave you that authority, you to sign on there as the authorized representative of the brokerage, and the owner signs and dates here. All right, so that's a sample listing agreement. No, not the sample, so actual listing agreement that we use. Every MLS will have their own separate listing agreement, or your agency could have their own custom one. Turn to page 153. 152 and 153. So under responsibility for investigation, on the third line, we're going to highlight New Jersey Real Estate Commission rules and regulations clearly require the licensee to ascertain all pertinent information on a property that's been accepted for a listing. The results of the licensee's investigation must be made known to all prospective purchasers. And we're looking not just for defects. What do we call defects that are out in the open, discoverable by a normal, visual, prudent inspection?
Material.
Material defects.
Yeah.
And what do we call hidden defects?
Latent.
Latent defect. If the owner is aware of any latent defects, they're supposed to disclose those as well.
Right.
And also any material information. What's material information?
Things that you would normally not see, I guess, unless they disclose it to you.
No. Material information is any information about the physical condition of the property that could affect the buyer's decision in purchasing, like how many bedrooms and baths. Does the house have a garage? Is it attached or detached? Does it have a basement? See, it's not necessarily problems with the house.
Oh, okay.
Problems are called material defects. Hidden defects are latent defects. And material information is any information about the physical condition of the property that could affect the buyer's decision in purchasing. Like, does the house use oil or gas to heat the house? Could that affect your decision in purchasing?
Yes.
Does it have air conditioning, or does it have central air conditioning, or
Yes.
window units, or units through the wall, or a whole house fan? Ooh, whole house fan. Actually, I should.
What's that?
You guys ever hear that before? A whole house fan? Hold on a
Yeah.
second. I got a video for that. I can show you the video on that one. I found on Facebook here, or not Facebook, on YouTube. I like to share. They're actually very effective. A whole house fan, you find them in usually they will be in colonial style houses in a hallway on the second floor, the top floor of the house. You turn it on, it looks like a bunch of louvers in the hallway. You turn it on usually from a light switch that's in a closet, probably right there next to it. And that fan kicks on. The fan is, these days they're making more efficient, smaller ones, but they're usually very big fans. If you were to go up in the attic on the older houses, the fan blades could be 4 to 5 feet in size. It's a huge fan that sucks all the air out of the house. So if you got the windows open, it creates a nice breeze, constant breeze through the house. Even on a hot day, you can keep it cool. If you burn food, you get all that smoke in the house, it'll suck that right out of the house. Here, let me show you an example. This one lady I found of one in her house. Watch this. I'm just pulling up the video. Give me 1 second.
Okay, this is a video for people who are wondering what a whole house fan is. This is what the grate looks like in the ceiling. We just moved into this house and we weren't sure what this was. Some people, I think, call it an attic fan, but it's really good for cooling down your whole house. So it is a whole house fan. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it on. Oop, it's trying to focus here. What's going on? There we go. All right, here we go. Turning it on. That's high. You can see the fan blade is huge. It's on high, and it creates an amazing breeze throughout the whole house. You have to have all your windows open so it doesn't create weird negative pressure. I'll turn it down to low. There it is on low. Still creating an amazing breeze throughout the whole house. It works extremely well. So if you're looking for an alternative to air conditioning in a hot area, this thing works great. It's been about 85 to 90 degrees outside. This cools the inside of our house at least 10 to 12 degrees. So we have not needed to run the air conditioning. Plus there's just constantly air moving through the windows, up through the fan, up through the attic, and I'm sure there's a port up there where it all goes out. But anyways, that's what it looks like. And here I will turn it off. And then the flaps close, and that's it. So that's what it looks like. Hope you enjoyed it.
All right, so that's a neat little video there showing you what a whole house fan is, and they do work amazingly. I am surprised that more new construction does not come with those things, because they work phenomenally well. And it does create that nice negative pressure, but yeah, don't turn it on when all your windows are closed. It creates so much negative pressure because it's sucking all the air out of the house. But if it sucks the air out and you don't have new air flowing in, it could pop your ears a little bit, That's what she meant by it creates a weird negative pressure thing that goes on in the house. All right, so cooperation with other licensees. Underneath responsibility for investigation, before we get to the cooperation with other licensees, the next paragraph, I'm going to just have you put a bracket around it. It says, failure to disclose any defects. Remember, we're required to investigate and disclose material defects that you could, if you bothered as an agent walking around the house and looking, you would find them. like sloping floors or an unused oil tank in the basement or a water main on the ceiling. Failure to disclose those defects or any defect that would have been apparent if a reasonable investigation had been made may make the licensee liable for any claims levied by the purchaser of the property. The rules also require the licensee to investigate the financial qualifications for every buyer that you submit an offer for. So if you're asking the seller to take their property off the market, submitting an offer for a buyer, at minimum, you should have gotten a pre-qualification letter for that buyer. You guys recall what a pre-qualification letter is? It's when you get on the phone with a mortgage representative from a bank or a lender, and the buyer gives their social security number so they could do a credit check. And then they tell them how much money they make, and they tell them what their approximate long-term debts are. And they run some numbers, and they tell them how, and then the lender tells them how much they could afford to get a loan for. Now, does that mean that they're definitely going to get the loan? No, because none of that information that the buyer told them has been verified yet. If they verify all that information now, their income, their tax returns, their bank statements, all that, then they issue what's called a mortgage approval letter, not a pre-qualification letter, but a pre-approval letter. All right. And that's even better. And that has to be submitted. One or the other has to be submitted at minimum with your offer when asking an owner to take their, consider your offer and take their property off the market. We want to make sure that they have some possibility of going through with that closing. Now, each licensee must fully cooperate with all other New Jersey licensees in the sale of listed property, unless specifically ordered not to do so by the owner. We must we must cover our butts to do in the CYA by getting them to sign that waiver of broker cooperation agreement. Listings must be shared with other agencies. We got to put them in the MLS within. We got to put them in the MLS within
48 hours.
48 hours,
And all written offers have to be forwarded to the owner within
24 hours.
24 hours, correct. Those are exam questions. You got 3 of them here. The waiver of broker cooperation. Who can advise you not to cooperate with other brokers? The owner. What's the document you sign? Waiver of broker cooperation. How soon do listings need to be put in the MLS? Within 48 hours. How soon do listing offers need to be forwarded to the owner? Within 24. All right. 408, we're almost done. Just give me 1 second here. I'm just going to pause this just for 1 second. Got to run down to the bathroom real quick. Okay, give me one.
Damn.
All right, so we'll resume here. Okay, so let me just recap this really quick then, so we have it in the recording. Each licensee, anytime you're getting a listing, we're required by law, if anybody in our office can show it, then agents from other office have to be, that listing has to be available for them to show as well, unless the owner directs us not to. And then we cover our butts by getting them to sign the waiver of broker cooperation agreement. Any listing has to be entered into the MLS within 48 hours. And all written offers have to be presented to the owner within 24 hours. Then I had you do some highlighting as well. We highlighted the first paragraph on page 153 under cooperation with other licensees. And then the next paragraph that says negotiability of commissions, we wrote FSBO disclosure next to it, because this is the disclosure that's required by law to be put into the contract when a for sale by owner did not have a listing with any real estate licensees, but we're putting an offer in on their property. We have to disclose to them that those commissions that we're going to want them to pay now are negotiable, that we don't engage in illegal price fixing as outlined by the Sherman Antitrust Act. So we would have to write, as seller, you have the right to individually reach an agreement on any fee, commission, or other valuable consideration with any broker, and no fee, commission, or other consideration has been fixed by any governmental authority, any trade association, or multiple listing service. So now we turn the page past the seller property condition disclosure to page 163. We already went over the disclosure. And then negotiability of commission. In New Jersey, all commissions are negotiable between the brokerage and the owner of the property. Make sure you follow your office policy on commission fees that you may charge. There may be minimums that you can charge if you're going to be negotiating, or they may have a standard fee list that they go by and that's it, you know, so follow your office's rules. All listing agreements must contain for 1 to 4 dwelling units that in New Jersey, all commissions are negotiable. And if it's a for sale by owner that we're preparing the contract for, we have to put in that that disclosure that I just read to you that says that we don't engage in illegal price fixing, which is outlawed by the Sherman Antitrust Act. Now, the Attorney General's memorandum is required. Anytime we get a listing, we have to give this document to the owner at the time we're getting a listing. Who's the Attorney General? The highest law enforcement officer in the state. And what's the purpose of the memorandum? It's a memorandum is a fancy word for a notice. So it's a notice coming from the Attorney General's office that says, we do not engage, and neither can the owner engage in discriminatorily advertising the property or discriminating against who they're going to sell or lease the property to. Whether the owner uses us, employs us, and lists the property with us or not. Okay, because in there it says that specifically real estate agents can't disclose, but this is a notice to the owner coming from the Attorney General saying that we do not engage, and neither can they, in discriminatory practices. So we have to furnish a copy of that to the owners at time of listing, and we should give it to them, have them sign one copy, and you guys keep the other copy. By doing so, you have your evidence that you make it part of your listing package. And this way, if anybody ever asks or if there's ever issues, you have those documents. You could prove that you've given them one copy. So that Attorney General's memorandum has been updated from the version that's in the book here. I have the updated version in the shared Google Drive supplemental folder for you. And it's also, this is it, remember? The Attorney General's memorandums to property owners from the Attorney General. And what is it about? Housing discrimination laws. Okay, just have them sign in one of these areas here. Just have them sign here because there's no signature line. Have them write their names or sign their names and date somewhere in these open spaces here. Okay, because there's no signature line anywhere on this document. And we must refuse to take any listing from anyone who tells us that they intend to discriminate. That's an exam question too. And it's maybe the second or third time we said that already. So you think it's on exam? You betcha. All right, listing commissions must be handwritten in the listing agreement, and we must be expressed as a fixed dollar amount or a percentage of the sales price. We've already discussed that. You think that's going to be on exam?
Yes.
You have to have a definite expiration date listed in the agreement too. Oh my God, we must have mentioned that 5 times already. You think that one's on exams? Absolutely. So we have to state in the listing agreement an exact termination date. Otherwise, the listing is not valid. So let's highlight under Attorney General's memorandum. The New Jersey, on page 163 at the top there, the New Jersey Real Estate Commission requires brokers and salespeople to furnish each listing owner with a copy of this memorandum. In addition, a licensee must refuse to take a listing from any owner who indicates an intention to violate the law against discrimination. We also learned that back in chapter 4. Then under expiration of listing, we're just going to highlight all exclusive listings must specify actually highlight the whole thing, the whole statement. A definite period of time during which the broker is employed, so the listing term, the expiration date, with an exact termination date. Then pricing the property. How do we help an owner price the property? We do a CMA, a comparative market analysis. We're not appraisers. We're not licensed as appraisers. We can never call this an appraisal. Do not get lazy and call it an appraisal. It's not an appraisal. You'll get sued by appraisers if you do that. It's a CMA. It's a comparative market analysis. Don't misrepresent it as an appraisal. We compare the subject property that we're trying to determine the value for by comparing it to similar recently sold homes, similar in size, style, location, and amenity to the subject property to try to determine what the market value of this property would be. And it's very similar to an appraisal, but it is not an appraisal. Now, we also do pricings for lenders sometimes, and when we do them for lenders, what we do is, it's not a CMA, it's a BPO, a broker's price opinion. A little more math, a little more numbers and statistics in that. The CMA is usually a complimentary free copy. Can we charge? Sure, but remember, we can only get paid through our brokers. It's not an appraisal, never should be called as such. If you guys want to learn how to price properties better, here's an excellent teacher. I'm not going to assume that your broker is going to do a good job, because a lot of them don't do a good job training agents on how to properly price properties. You'll learn through experience, but that takes time. Your broker may have the knowledge, but do they even do a good job? I don't know. This is a group of appraisers for a class that's less than $100. It's maybe $79, I think. Appraisers will teach you how to value properties. This is a class they put together just for real estate agents called the CMA Workshop. So on their website, ODTEAU, Ottawa.com, it takes you to here. These guys are consultants for Fortune 500 companies, for attorneys, for hospitals, for investment groups, for litigation, for the court systems. They predict markets based on information they aggregate from all sorts of government data and resources, from tax records and MLSs and appraisals that appraisers do. And they aggregate all this information and they make all these different presentations. But there's a great class that they give. You can take a look at their client list. Their client list alone should show you that these people's opinion is valued. Here's some of the Fortune 500 companies, a sampling of them that they've done business with. Any of these names look familiar to you? Abbott Laboratories, Bristol Myers Squibb, Eli Lilly, ExxonMobil, Merck, pharmaceutical companies, financial institutions, developers, miscellaneous like retirement plans like ADP and the train, CSX transportation, train companies, Gulf Oil. You got cities and hospitals and governmental entities. Here's all the cities that have used their services. or a lot of them, law firms that have used them in the past, healthcare systems, Barnabas, you know, JFK, what have you. So they're legit. They're legit, guys. Look, what you want to look for is their events and workshops. You're looking for their CMA workshop the next time that they're going to do it. You may want to send them an email if they don't have one listed. Let me see, our services. Because right now they don't have anything listed there. Real estate valuation, real estate, events and workshops. Here we go. If I click on that under our services, you can see they do the commercial real estate risk forecasting, spring housing workshops, advanced CMA. I went to this one. It looks like they're going to do it. They did one. It looks like another one's coming up in November. Reach out to them, guys. This is an excellent. They have 2 workshops, the regular CMA workshop and the advanced workshop. It gets into a little more detail. I signed up. I took both of them. I try to do it every year if at all possible, because they give you housing forecasts on where the market is going too. And if you missed this, you could go to one of their seasonal workshops that they have that teach you that information too. It's not going to sneeze. All right. I'll show you some of their paperwork, you know, that I go over similar stuff, but not anywhere near as a detail as they would teach you in the valuation of properties. When we get to chapter 16, that CMA workshop is pretty cool because they give you guys a lot of information. As you can see in this window, they give us information about, they give me an Excel file, they give me a blank CMA form, they give you one that's filled out, they give you a guide that show you how to adjust for property values. Watch, I'm going to open this and I'm going to show you what just to give you a little sampling of this. Is a property worth more or less if it's on a busy road? What would you think?
Less.
Less.
But how much less? These appraisers will actually put a dollar amount to that. Now, how do they do that? Well, they base it on the sale of every home in the last year. So here's an example where they show you in the different price range, homes in the different price ranges, being on a busy road, how much of a difference would that make? Well, in a house in the $250,000 price range, if it is $250,000, it would make it $6,000 less, or 2.4%. You know, and what about a private street or a cul-de-sac? That would make your home worth more, right? It's safety, less noise, etc. That makes your house on a $250,000 price range $5,000 or 2% worth more. You know, they base this on the sale of statistics of every home sold in the last year. If you were to do that, how would you come up with that number? You just guesstimate it? You know, they're basing it on solid data. And then this way you could price properties closer to what appraisers would. They go over, what if the person has a bigger lot size? What about a swimming pool? You guys think a swimming pool would make the house worth more or less?
All right.
Depends.
Okay, I got some.
What's the value?
I think more.
More, depends. Anybody say less?
Will the pool affect the square footage?
No, it's not the house. It's not the structure.
Oh, okay.
It's talking
Oh,
about
the noise.
Noise. From what?
No, which pool?
Safety.
All right, so an in-ground pool
Hmm.
worth more, does it make the property worth more or less? What would you think?
I would
More.
I think more.
More.
Yeah.
Absolutely, positively more. Now, some people will come up with other arguments. Yeah, but what about the safety issue? You know, the possibility of drownings and all that. Then you got to put up a fence, and the liability, your insurance goes up, your taxes go up. Yeah, but well, then that house ain't for you. But for somebody who wants a pool, they'll definitely be willing to pay more for this house that has the pool. How much more? Well, let me ask you a question. Your average in-ground pool for a $250,000 house, what do you think the price of that in-ground pool would cost to install?
About 30,000.
I'd guesstimate anywhere between 50 to 25,000 for your average in-ground pool. Okay, anywhere in that range. Let's just say 20,000. Okay, let's see how much more it would make that house worth. Down in-ground pool, right down here, $6,000 more, or 2.4%. So as you can see, not all improvements will pay back 100%. Not all improvements you do to your house will pay back 100%. Some improvements do pay back more than others, like if you remodel a kitchen. Up to a certain point, you start going extreme with your kitchen makeover, then is it going to pay? Then we have something that we call increasing and diminishing returns. We're going to go over this in a little more detail when we get to chapter 16. So you got a little teaser there, what's coming up. But this is a definite, this chart alone is great for taking this class, the CMA workshop. All right. So let's, you get that from Ottawa, OTTEAU.com. And they give you market forecast of why they estimate values are going to be going up or down and why. Do solar panels make your house worth more or less? They cover that. How much more or how much less? They cover that. What do you think? Do solar panels make your house worth more or less?
I think more.
Everybody give me an answer.
I agree with her. I think more.
Make your house worth more or less?
I say more.
More? No other opinions?
Less.
Less? All right.
I don't think it
That's
does
more or
change
less.
it.
That's
I
more or
don't think it
less
affects.
guessing.
You don't think it affects it at all?
Guessing.
Well, I'm asking you to guess. I'm asking you. What do you think? I want your opinion. Everybody's got.
I believe it's
I know when you're
more.
not in a classroom, everybody's vocalizing their opinion. So vocalize it here. I want to hear what you guys have to say, you know.
I believe more.
Here's the answer. Here's the answer.
More.
It depends.
More.
It depends.
That's the answer.
That's the answer. Now ask me another question. What is
That's
it
your-
depend on?
You said what?
No.
You should be asking me another question. When I say it depends, you should be saying, what does it depend on?
What does it depend on?
Well, are those solar panels on the front of the house or the back? There's an ugly factor you have to factor in. If they're on the front of the house, definitely does not make the house worth more.
Sure.
Now, it doesn't make it worth less, but it does not make it worth more at all. There's that ugly factor. I know everybody these days, they're talking about renewable energy and green energy, save the planet. But most people who say that are not buying into their own bullshit. And I'm going to, pardon my French, I'm going to be saying that for a particular reason. Because the day that you put your money where your mouth is, that's when I'll believe that you start believing your own rhetoric, right? Because when you don't pay, when you're not willing to pay more for a house that's got them, do I really believe that rhetoric? No. So, but if the solar panels are in the back of the house, it definitely makes them worth more. Now, you don't get to say where the solar panels go because they're going to go wherever the sun shines most to get the most use out of them. So it depends on what direction your house is facing. So unfortunately, that's not really a choice that you got. But if they're on the back of the house, it makes your house worth more. But how much more? Well, it depends. Do you own the panels? Are you leasing the panels? What you got to have to do is you got to take the, let me see, I think I have it here in that thing. I closed it. Not sure if it's in part 1 or part 2 of this. Special energy. Oh, okay, that's not on there. It's on one of their other documents. Well, what you got to do is you got to figure out how much energy those solar panels generate. Get a copy of your bill. Find out how much energy you use. Find out how much you're paying for energy. Find out how much energy those solar panels generate. And then they give you a number to multiply that by to determine how much more it makes your home worth. So they actually give you little formulas that they get into. And plus I got additional notes that you take when you take those classes for all kinds of helpful stuff. So it's really interesting. All right, anyway, the actual selling price. Who determines the actual selling price? The buying public, not the seller. What does the seller determine? What the asking price is. With our guidance, we're there to educate them based on what the current market is going for, similar properties in size, style, location, and amenity, and condition to the subject property to determine the value of that property. But ultimately, we can lead a horse to water. We can't make them drink. Who ultimately determines what the asking price of the house is? The owner. And who determines what the eventual sale price is? It's not the owner. It's the buying public, what they're willing to spend. That's what determines the market value, ultimately.
Who did you say is that does the ultimate?
Public.
Who was it? Was it a buyer you said?
The
That
buying
does the ultimate?
public. Yep, the buying market. How much buyers are willing to spend to purchase the property at any given point in time? Because remember, real estate markets fluctuate, so where are we right now in the market? How much are people willing to buy your home for? Right now, it's crazy for some reason, and I don't understand it. Because our economy is not going in a very good direction right now. A lot of people are out of work, but interest rates are still low. So the demand for prices right now is incredible. It's both a buyer's market and a seller's market at the same time right now, because the prices, actually it's more of a seller's market, because the prices are high and people are paying more and more for these houses because the loans are still available at incredibly low interest rates. It's definitely a seller's market because the buyers are out there, they're willing to pay, and they're willing to pay ridiculous numbers, even over asking price right now. So we're seeing a repeat of what happened in 2001 to 2006. That bubble is going to pop again.
Oh,
I'm estimating that it's going to happen next year, that the real estate market's going to have a little bit of a downward spiral, but it's going to be nowhere near what we've seen in 2006. But I would estimate maybe 10 to 14%, 10 to 15% decrease in value next year when the bubble bursts. But either way, we'll see some kind of a little adjustment in the marketplace.
So that's going to lead to short sales and all that stuff.
No, short sales, it would only be if you have to sell the property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
no, I think he's talking about interest rates.
Well, the market, I'm talking about interest rates are going to be rising.
Right.
Yeah, but right now,
They're already starting to rise.
Right.
That's why buyers are racing out there. Interest rates are starting to rise. Cost of everything is going up. Jobs are going to be affected. Right now, a lot of people are being incentivized by the government not to work. You're making more money on unemployment than you are actually working. So a lot of people you see places, help wanted signs everywhere. People can't get anybody to go back to work because the government's giving you these bonuses of $300 a week as well, in addition to your unemployment, So a lot of people are, just don't want to go back to work. Are you going to make more as a dishwasher or on unemployment? Probably on unemployment. But the thing is, are those jobs going to be available for you when those government benefits go away? I don't know. We got a lot of illegal immigration going on that they're going to try to normalize and accept everybody and give them working status. And with all these massive amounts of people that are crossing over our other open border right now, are those jobs going to be available still for you there? Or are we going to have people to fill those positions, and then you'll have trouble finding those jobs later? I don't know.
Well, we don't really know. We see.
I don't know. You could see it all happening. What's going to happen though? Your guess is as good as mine, but I don't know. It's I think that our politicians need to take more responsibility for what they're doing. They're looking at the short term right now. They're not looking at the long term repercussions.
My battery, I'm sorry, my battery is dying on my laptop.
That's all right. We're going to be ending class right now. So we have a little more to discuss here pertaining to the value. So we're going to finish this chapter. Even though it looks like we're right at the end, I want to discuss, I have another slide here to talk about how do we value properties and the listings and everything. We're going to go over that tomorrow morning. So right now I'm going to throw out the afternoon poll for everybody, and class will be dismissed.